Meeting of the Goose Creek CISD Board of Trustees to order. The time is now 6:03 p.m. Mrs. Guy, was the meeting properly posted?
Yes, it was.
And do we have a quorum?
We do.
Thank you so much. At this time, I'll turn it over to Ms. Kendall David for opening exercises.
Good evening, President Campisi, school board members, and Dr. O'Brien. We'll begin with pledges to the American and Texas flag. Ms. Barat-Tenz will be presenting the pledges. We will begin the opening ceremonies with a prayer led by Mr. Clem. Everyone please rise for the prayer and remain standing for the pledges.
Everybody please bow your head. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this lovely day and thank you for this time when we can come together to work together. We ask your guiding hand as we make decisions that will impact our school district for years to come, and that we make the right decisions along the way. Thank you for everyone who's here tonight, and I ask for safe travel home for everyone when we are finished tonight. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledges, please. I will pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now to our Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, I want to invite Dr. Shannon Ramirez, our coordinator of advanced academics, up to honor our AP scholars.
All right, good evening, President Campisi, board members, and Dr. O'Brien. Based on the 2025 Advanced Placement Exam Administration, 65 of our Goose Creek CISD students were named AP Scholars. Earning the designation of AP Scholar is a huge accomplishment. Let's give all 65 of these students a big round of applause. The College Board recognizes several levels of achievement based on the number of AP exams taken and scores achieved. AP Scholar with Honor, and AP Scholar with Distinction. The level of achievement we are recognizing tonight is AP Scholar with Distinction. If we have parents of these students in the audience, would you please stand to be recognized? I would also like to recognize our campus principals, Ms. Kelly Start from GCM, Mr. Nathan Chaddock from Sterling, and Mr. Ernest Brooks from Robert E. Lee. We are only recognizing students who are able to be with us tonight. Students, when your name is called, please come forward to receive your award and then remain at the front for a group picture. Parents or guardians, as well as family members, please stand when your student's name is called. During the 24-25 school year, 12 students throughout the district qualified for the AP Scholar with Distinction Award by earning an average score of at least 3.5 on all AP exams taken and scores of 3 or higher on 5 or more of these exams. The AP Scholars with Distinction from Goose Creek Memorial who are present tonight are Riley Bloom, all right, next, Ayush Kaura. All right, Joseph Kopecki. Joseph has actually graduated and will be attending UT Austin and majoring in computer science this next year. All right. And Haroon Mahi from GCM. All right, our AP Scholar with Distinction from Lee High School tonight is Kenya Pena. She will be attending University of Southern California, or USC, and is a political science / pre-law major. Okay. Yeah. AP teachers and counselors dedicate many hours of their lives toward the success of these students. Some of our AP teachers and counselors may be here tonight. If you were an AP teacher or counselor, please stand that you may be recognized. I know I saw Ms. Schrull earlier. She may not be. Okay. All right. All right. Thank you so much. Congratulations again to our AP scholars with distinction. Y'all have a good night.
This concludes our recognitions and acknowledgements. Congratulations to everyone recognized this evening. President Campisi, I turn the meeting back over to you.
Thank you, Mrs. David. We'll move on to item number 4 on the agenda, citizens' participation. Mrs. Garcia, is anyone signed up to speak? Citizens' participation is the time that the board will hear public concerns or public comments from those who have properly signed up to address the board. At regular board meetings, the board shall permit public comment regardless of whether the topic is an item on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. General public comment is limited to no more than 30 minutes per meeting. At all other board meetings, public comment shall be limited to open session items on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. Each speaker is reminded that he or she is limited in his or her presentation to a maximum of 3 minutes, which can be further limited or reduced by the presiding officer, and that he or she should respect confidentiality concerns and refrain from attacking the personal character of any individual student, staff member, or board member in addressing concerns or comments. Pursuant to state law and board policy BE legal, the board cannot consider or take action on concerns at this meeting unless they pertain to an item on the posted agenda for this meeting. Any deliberation or decision on an item that is not posted for consideration at this meeting shall be limited to a proposal to place the subject on the agenda of a future meeting. I've been advised we have one person signed up to speak, and that is J. Warren Singleton. If you will approach the microphone, Mr. Singleton. Secretary Guy will time you. You will have 3 minutes to speak. When you have 1 minute remaining, she will alert you 1 minute, and the time will begin once you start speaking. Please begin with your name and the subject you're speaking on. Thank you, sir.
Good evening. My name is J. Warren Singleton, and I'm a local historian, columnist, society founder and president, and one of the individuals that nominated Mr. Howard Sampsons. I am speaking again on behalf of the nomination of Mr. Sampson to address the delay tactics pertaining to the naming of the new field house at Starwood Stadium. It's time to put this delay tactic to rest. It's time to put this back on the agenda and bring it to a vote. Now that everyone knows about the delay, they know that this is being done for a particular reason. It's not because of them wanting to know the existence of names on the building. You can count on one hand the number of individuals, blacks, who have something named after them in the Goose Creek buildings. We know that the stall taxes gives a certain group of individuals more time, whites, to find someone that's more qualified than Mr. Sampson. So far, they haven't been able to do that. Yes, it has turned into a black and white issue. And we know this particular group is willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that another building does not get named after blacks. Folks, it's 2025, well into the 21st century. And it's time for this type of racism to end in the city of Baytown and the Goose Creek Consolidated Independent School District. Baytown is better than this, and if not, it should be. we should not name this field house after a former doctor or physician. Being a former Carver High School two-sport athlete and a 2012 PVIL Hall of Fame track and field inductee, would someone please tell me how a doctor or physician can motivate a group of athletes? Perhaps if they were wanting to be a doctor or a nurse, they could be motivated by them, but not an athlete, for God's sake. The field house should be named after a white coach, another white coach. In my opinion and the opinion of many others, white coach hadn't done anything other than be a coach. They definitely haven't won any state championships in football. Nobody's done that but Carver High School coaches. I want to say, let's put an end to this madness. Let's put this back on the agenda and let's bring it to a vote. I previously submitted 32 support letters from individuals, and today I submitted 5 support letters from 5 churches. I urge the board members to read these letters. They're very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Singleton. We'll move on to item number 5, approval of minutes. The July 14th, 2025 regular board meeting.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Guy and a second by Mr. Martinez. Right?
I think that's okay. He just can't vote because he was, right?
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to stay your second? Okay. I have a motion by Mrs. Guy and a second by Mr. Martinez to approve the minutes for July 14th, 2025. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Showing 6-4, 0 opposed, and 1 abstention. Motion carries. We'll move on to item number 6, discussion items. Dr. O'Brien, I'll turn it over to you.
Yes, sir. President, we have superintendent's reports this evening. We have 4 of them, in fact. The first one will be the strategic plan update. Ms. Kendall David will be presenting, along with a few of the team members.
Good evening again, President Campisi, board members, and Dr. O'Brien. We are here today, as we do every year around this time, to present strategic plan updates. I have an incredible team with me here today. My name is Kendall David. I'm the Executive Director of Community Engagement.
Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm Kevin Foxworth, Area Executive Director.
Good evening, Anthony Price, Assistant Superintendent of Operations Services.
Bridget Clark, Chief Financial Officer.
And Matt Bollinger, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources.
So the purpose of this evening's presentation first is to provide an update on the 2019-2025 strategic plan. Focus areas, celebrations of the plan from last year and years prior, as well as review the proposed 2025-2030 strategic plan. You do have a copy of that draft strategic plan in front of you, just to note. But just a little background on the strategic plan. Ultimately, the strategic plan identifies primary goals and focus areas for our district. It's a living document. It's monitored by the strategic plan action team. And by living document, I mean as things change, landscape changes. I'll give you a great example. The 2019 strategic plan, of course, did not account for COVID, so we had to make a lot of changes. We consistently have legislative changes that impact our work. And so I say that to tell you that the strategic plan is a living document, and we do have an action team that meets quarterly to review any actions or provide any input for district initiatives. The action team this year in June conducted an extensive review of the 2019-25 plan and developed a 2025-2030 strategic plan. And that work was done, that action team consists of teachers, administrators, district level administrators, board members, as well as community members. So to begin the process, one of the first things we did is looked at an opportunity scan. There were many, many things listed as opportunities for our district, as well as threats that we need to address within the strategic plan for the next 5 years. Some of the most common things listed by groups on the action team were first in opportunities, high quality instructional materials, which Kevin Foxworth is going to address here in a minute. AI and the changing landscape with artificial intelligence, leveraging grants, the opportunity for leveraging the vertical alignment due to rezoning, as well as increased teacher pay. A few of the threats that were noted were funding for public schools, school choice, rising discipline concerns, aging facilities, national teacher shortages, and cybersecurity. So as you see, once we completed this process, we ensured that there were levels in the strategic plan that address each one of these opportunities as well as threats. So as the 2019-2025 strategic plan had 5 overarching areas and strategic plan goals, that has not changed. We looked at is there a need to add a goal maybe for technology or social emotional learning? But the decision was made to keep the strategic plan goals the way that they are because many of those elements are ingrained within the work that the current goals address and are within the strategic plan. So the 5 primary overarching goals are academic performance, community engagement, organizational development, operational excellence, and financial stewardship, which each of us will go over here in just a second.
Okay, let's go over the academic performance slide here. First, our celebrations we want to go over is our CCMR, our College and Career Military Readiness, is something that our district does a tremendous job at. It's really one of the strengths of our district. So we really want to celebrate that. We're at 90%, which is a great gain from our previous percentage. It was a 9-point increase. Just to let you know, the state is at 76%. So it's 14 points above the state average. So we're double-digit points above state average with our college and career military readiness, getting our kids. So that is a tremendous celebration for our district. Along with that goes our dual credit and our students, the number of students taking our dual credit here in Goose Creek. That has grown from 1,000 to 1,500 to 2,100. Last year we had 2,577 students taking a dual credit course. That's 1 out of every 3 high school students. So that's a tremendous accomplishment. We're very proud of that. We want to continue building that kind of culture because we know if we can hook that kid into a college class and help them be successful, we can believe we can get them a degree if that's the route they want to go. Scholarships is another celebration. We were at almost $28 million that our seniors earned last year here in Goose Creek. That's up $8 million from the year before. And then another, not our last celebration, but our last one we'll mention tonight is our graduation rate. Just to get 1% higher than the state average, when you're that high on graduation rate, when you're already in the 90%, to go up 1% is a big deal. When you look at the 4-year, 5-year, and 6-year graduation rates, we're 3.5 to 4.6 percentage points better than the state. So tremendous things that's happening here in Goose Creek. Although we do have some focus areas. We want to talk about that. Last board meeting, Ms. Jackson mentioned academic achievement. Talked to you guys about there. There were some celebrations in that. We are closing the gap in our approaches area, but just want to reinforce what she said. We were focusing on that meets and masters, and trying to raise the bar at that level and get every kid, not just our intervention kids, but get all kids to move up. Then we have attendance. We're about another focus area. We're about 93% for the last several years, which is right at the state average. We're not below, we're not above it. We've been right at that 93%. And we want to do some really, try to do some better communication with our parents, really try to hit engagement, relevancy with our lessons, trying to make that learning meaningful so kids really want to come to school. Sure, we're going to do the truancy letters and communication and the 90% rule, all those things, but we want to try to also do those other strategies. Moving on to the strategic plan updates. That first one says strengthen instructional outcomes by supporting teachers in the effective use of highly qualified instructional materials. And those are those TEKS aligned, rich in content type materials, real comprehensive, that we want our teachers to have where they're focused on internalization and really helping kids understand the concepts, and it goes back to getting to that meets and masters level. The second one was to utilize universal screener data to evaluate success. So we want to help those students what to use that data, not just to show the data, but what are we doing with that data? One of the things that we're really trying to do a better job at is helping kids understand their data and helping kids able to assess their own learning so that the kid can say, hey, what concept, or we could ask a kid, what concept do you need help with? What specific TEK are you working on? So we want to transfer some of that ownership to the students and not think it's impossible that every teacher can know every TEK on every single student. So we want to try to help students learn how to assess their own learning. The next one is implement a professional development plan. So that PD that we're focusing on is going to be, again, back to increasing that level of rigor so that we can hit that meets and masters level. Really tying in our PLCs, helping our TLCs to understand what really good pedagogy is so that when a teacher or staff member needs support, we can help provide that support to them. And then lastly on this slide is provide early and preventative SEL supports for all students. I think we provide a lot as a district for social emotional learning. We do our student support team meetings every week. We do our guidance lessons, our Character Strong Wellness Wednesdays. We have communities in schools. We do student wellness interventionists. We have Harris Health, DePelchin, T-Chat. We have a lot of things that we're trying to do so that we can intervene early and help our students and our staff feel emotionally strong and support so they can be successful.
Okay, so for the community engagement metrics, our celebrations first are the completion of GC 2035 for this year, developing that full comprehensive rezone plan, as well as the long-range facility plan that was developed through that committee work. Another celebration that we're proud of is social media engagement. We continue to increase in our engagement for social media, and so we know that that's where a lot of our parents are getting their information. That's where they're sharing good news about their students and their school, and so that continues to increase year over year. We just finished year 2 of the implementation of Parent Square, and it's been a great tool for our campuses, our principals, our teachers, and communicating with families. And we just continue to train and make sure that our teachers and our administrators have the resources they need for Parent Square and communication in general. The Education Foundation dollars awarded in innovative teaching grants continues to increase. This year, we increased by $80,000, so that's additional funds that are put into classrooms to support students and teachers. And then also Hispanic outreach, just that work of making sure that our Spanish-speaking families have resources and everything that they need to feel like part of our school community. Dia del Nino, this is the 3rd year that we've had that event, and we had over 3,000 participants, which we're really proud of. And one of the focus areas that you'll see in the strategic plan updates is to continue to increase different ways that we're interacting with families that do not speak the English language. For a primary focus area is strengthen district trust and transparency. And so as we continue to have legislative changes or changes within our school system, we're working really hard to be proactive and making sure that our parents understand what's going on in our schools and communicating that effectively. As far as the 25-30 strategic plan updates, we know we're going to have to do a lot of work leveraging marketing for school choice. That's going to be a landscape that public schools have not faced at the level that we know we're going to face in the future. The Education Foundation developed a robust strategic plan. They did that work this summer, and so we're really focused on integrating a lot of those initiatives into our district strategic plan. And like I mentioned earlier, just continuing to expand the multilingual communication strategies and tools that we have and offer to our families.
Okay, good evening, board. So the next goal is on organizational development. So I'm going to share a few celebrations. First of all, last year, our retention rate went up slightly compared to the previous year from 78 to 79%. And this is a celebration because our retention rate has not gone up since COVID. So this is the first year, last year's the first year where we saw an increase. Wasn't a large increase, but we'll take that over a decrease. Also, our experienced teachers, our teachers with years of experience, that number also went up slightly, a little under a percentage point from like 9.5 to 10 years. So on average, our teachers have 10 years of experience, which is something we want veteran teachers working alongside our new teachers. Our compensation continues to be very competitive. It's a challenge in the area that we're in, but we constantly have come to the board, and the board has been very supportive in teacher compensation. Another area that we celebrate and we focus on is our Grow Your Own program. So with our student interns, we had 30 interns last year. We have 35 going into this year as far as student interns. And this is important because we know that when they do their student teaching with us, they become a part of our culture, a part of our family, and they're more likely to stay with us. And so last year we hired 23 student interns into teaching positions, and that's a big celebration there. Over 90% of our teachers are fully certified. However, this is an area of challenge because the goal needs to be 100%. And we know that with legislation coming down the pipelines next year, that there's more restrictions on this item. In a market of teacher shortages, we're doing all we can to find certified teachers, and so that's a challenge there. Our focus continues to be on teacher retention and also on leadership development. We have two administrator pipeline programs that our AEDs run those programs. One is called LEAD and the other one is called Pathways, and both of those programs have been restructured this year to make them more intentional, to make sure that whenever we have vacancies with assistant principals or with principals, that we have a pipeline of next batter up, next person ready to take that leadership position. And so that's an area of emphasis. 2 years ago, we won a grant where we had teacher residencies, where we had teachers who were able to get paid to be an interim administrator, so to speak. And out of the 8 teachers who completed that program, 7 were hired as administrators the following year. And so that was a program that was funded, and that funding went away. But we know if we can find more ideas of that nature, that was proven to be successful. And so as far as the updates for the next 5 years, leadership development, we had a retention task force last year. We had a committee that met several times last year to talk about what we're doing well as far as teacher retention and what we can do to improve. And we shared that information with the board last year, and then also making sure that we get TIA approved this coming year as well.
Good evening. I'm going to talk about operational excellence. Some of our celebrations was a decrease in safety and security incidents. Now that's a big celebration because anytime we can celebrate safety, that's a big celebration for our school district. We're also going to talk about energy efficient systems and programs, as well as maintenance costs per student. All of those were celebrations. We did have a slight increase in maintenance costs per student, but due to all the things that were going on this past year, that's still a victory or a celebration that we want to have. Also, cybersecurity defense. We added that to our arsenal for safety, and that's turned out great as well. Focus areas, we want to work on work order completed within 0 to 15 days. These are our routine work orders, but we want to get them, we're at 77% getting those completed within 15 days. We want to get that number down for better completion rates of our work orders that have turned in. That brings us up to our plan updates. Establish a preventative maintenance program. We want to work on a PM program across the district. It's a little difficult now because right now we are still fighting the reduction in manpower. And so we're still working on some of those things to get those numbers up so we can get that program up and running. Leverage the long-term range facility plan for decision-making and expand our police and security training opportunities. So those are our long plan updates.
Good evening. Now we'll talk about financial stewardship. So some of the celebrations that we would like to discuss are, of course, our AAA bond rating. We want to maintain that so we're able to keep our debt carrying costs low. We've been waiting for the Fed to reduce interest rates, but they have been sticky. So we continue to watch that, but we're hopeful that at least by the end of the year, maybe early next year, we'll be seeing some decreases in the federal funds rate. Also, the Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas score, we've received a superior rating, which is the highest rating for 21 consecutive years. That's the state level financial rating system. Also, we've received the Government Finance Officers Association Award for 26 years for excellence in financial reporting. Also from the Association of School Business Officials, we've received it for 30 consecutive years for financial reporting. Also, we've received unmodified audit opinions for our financials for many, many years in a row, and that's the top audit reports. Obviously, some to-do lists for school districts across the state is going to be budget deficit addressing that. We did not receive the increase in basic allotment like we were hoping. That would have helped us, fill the gap there, but we're grateful that we did get the teacher raises and some increases there. But again, it really doesn't address the budget deficit that most school districts are experiencing across the state. So some next steps. We want to ensure transparent communication of legislative changes. We have a special session that's underway. We've had some activity today and the last couple of days with that. And the governor's priority list is because of some folks leaving the state, he's not able to have a quorum. So some of his bills and some of his priorities, are not going to be able to be addressed. So if those individuals stay out of the state because the special session lasts 30 days, if they were to stay out until the 30 days is up, he would have to call another session and so on and so forth. We saw in sessions past where they did do consecutive sessions. So we'll have to keep our eyes peeled on that. Also, there are multiple property tax relief bills on his agenda as well. So we're keeping an eye on that. We'd also like to develop and maintain continue our long-range capital improvement plan. Just because we don't have, our bonds are winding down, the capital needs continue. Schools need things, roofs, need things. We have equipment, major equipment that needs replacement and so forth. So the needs continue whether or not we still have bond funds or not. So we constantly are trying to manage that and make the most of that. We also want to align our campus improvement plan and our district improvement plan with financial stewardship goals. We want to make sure to get as many resources as possible allocated to the classroom. That's really the main goal there. And also, of course, we want to look for other alternative funding sources through grants and other means. So that is the financial stewardship in a nutshell.
Thank you, Bridget. Okay, so what are next steps? So first is board review and consideration of approval at the September board meeting of the 2025-2030 strategic plan. And like I said at the beginning, you do have a copy of the plan with you this evening. The biggest part of the strategic plan is really to communicate our goals to our stakeholders, make sure that everyone in our district understands our district goals and priorities and the vision for the future. And that goes along with, talking to principals, leaders, having conversations and relating all of our data back in executive council, also talking with district administrators to make sure that they know that the goals that we have set forth in our district, everyone's working as a collective towards those goals. And then last, of course, continue the work of the strategic plan action team. And again, this committee evaluates the progress and identifies areas of improvement, recommends updates based on the data, feedback, and changing circumstances. So continue that quarterly strategic plan action team work. All right, any questions?
Anybody? Can I have a question? Mr. Foxworth, on your presentation on dual credits, and our district have a big makeup of our, majority are Hispanic, and then secondly, economically, socially disadvantaged. How are we helping our students who fall in those categories to be able to participate in our dual credit? Are we, because it is a fee to that, and just wanted to kind of know, because I've had parents that ask, so
Yeah.
how are we making sure?
Yeah, that communication is absolutely key, and trying to really build that culture of the school, trying to help teachers really know what's being offered so that they can communicate it to the students. Mm-hmm. Now, the college and career counselor and that team, that whole college team, does a great job calling in kids, whether they're at risk, where they're economically disadvantaged. Those are the kids. I mean, we want to hit all kids.
Right.
And we definitely want to hit those kids and try to, like I said earlier, we want to hook them. We want to let them know that, look, you can take a college class and you can do it. You can pass it. So they believe, so they start to believe, and they get excited and they go, you know what? I can walk out of this place core complete with 42 college hours or 12 college hours. It doesn't matter. But we're working to build that culture all throughout the school, from the principal to everybody, to help them, so everybody can communicate to kids, whether it's through messaging, through parents, through meetings with parents at night in the auditorium, inviting them out, giving information so that we get those kids involved.
And have we seen an increase with those efforts being in our numbers for our minority students to participate in dual credit?
Yes, okay. Absolutely, we have. Especially, we stand out. Ms. Jackson has been, we've been recognized by Columbia University.
I'm actually going to get into your questions on the next presentation.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay. All right.
But yes.
Thank you, Mr. Foxworth.
Goose Creek has been a standout for exactly what you're asking.
And Ms. Jackson, you're going to talk a little bit about like the cost for students in your presentation? Okay, well, I'll save that question. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Foxworth, before you give that microphone up, let's talk CCMR one more time.
Yes, sir.
Because we meet with our peers in the state, throughout the state at conferences, and this is something that a lot of school districts are challenged by. Throw that celebration out there one more time. What are our numbers of CCMR?
Yeah, so we were at 90%. So thank you, Mr. Campisi. I appreciate you saying that.
Because we're doing outstanding things in that area.
We work tremendously hard to help our kids be college ready and career ready. And Leah Miller and her team do a tremendous job. The counselors do a tremendous job really helping tracking those kids to make sure they're getting the industry-based certifications, or whether it's the Texas Succession Initiative assessment, whether it's SAT, whether it's a dual credit, that they get it where they're considered college ready or career ready. So they don't go to college and have to take remedial courses and have to take all these courses before they can even start getting real credit. They come in ready to go, and they go into an industry certified and ready to go. So we do a great job, double digits ahead of the state, 14 points ahead of the state. So
we are leaps and bounds above in that area, and yes. I congratulate you and the whole team on that. That's something to be very proud of. And,
thank you.
And I just wanted to celebrate that one more time.
Yeah.
Are there any further questions for this panel?
Yeah. Talk to me about academic achievement and how you're going to raise the bar a little bit in specific.
Sure, sure. So one of the things we're really believing that the Bluebonnet curriculum is going to make a difference. We have a Mira that we are utilizing. It's an AI program that's going to give immediate feedback to students. They're not going to have to wait on that feedback. It's going to be instantaneous. Another strategy that we're really trying to do with the principals, as I said earlier, is help students assess their own learning so it's not you, Mr. Renteria, where you know every single kid and every TEK and every concept. That's impossible to ask of you. But if we can teach our kids how to understand their own learning and what to do the next steps, we believe we can make great increases. Research and evidence-based strategies say we're going to make great grounds and great increases in doing so. So those are some of the things.
Okay. Yep. A great question. I think our board as a whole is looking at that. Our board is looking at that, and that will be a focus of this board. Any further questions for this panel? Dr. O'Brien, you can excuse your panel and move on.
Thank you. Great presentations. Our next presentation will be led by Ms. Carrie Smith.
I was so excited to come.
You're jumping the gun here. Ms. Carrie Smith, the Student Code of Conduct.
I like your motivation. I like it.
If you would like to go first, you can.
We'll go ahead and stick to the order.
You're the boss. All right, let me get out of this. Oh, there it is.
Ms. Smith will be presenting to the board and our community this evening some of the changes brought on by this legislative session, and she'll be covering some of those in detail for everyone's knowledge.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Campisi, School Board, and Dr. O'Brien. So this evening I am presenting on the 2025-26 Student Code of Conduct that must be board approved, and school starts Monday. Thanks to the 89th legislative session, we had lots of changes, as y'all know, some of which are still being dissected as we speak. So you should have all received that, I believe, last Monday for review. And changes basically, and a quick overview was the campus behavior coordinators, parental rights and responsibilities, personal communication devices, updated the levels of behavior, formal teacher removal, ISS, out of school suspension, discipline of special education students, academic dishonesty, FERPA, network guidelines, data incident reporting, communication between employees, students, and parents, technology resources, GCC ISD student device guidelines with parent guardian guidelines, acceptable use for personal devices, and the glossary had a pretty big overhaul as well. So, of course, the big one that is on everyone's mind is our House Bill 1481, personal communication devices. So, I used TASB's guidance based on their webinar that they had, and this was the wording that they chose since we were not purchasing pouches. So they had two ways you could word things. So possession of personal communication devices. Students shall not use personal communication devices, including but not limited to telephones, cell phones, smartphone or flip phone, smartwatch, tablet, laptop, radio device, paging device, smart glasses, earbuds, headphones, with the exception for instructional use, or any other personal electronic device on school property during the school day, and shall store the device in accordance with the method of storage established by the district. The district may authorize the use of personal communication devices for the following reasons: to implement an individualized education program, IEP, or for a plan created under 504 or a similar program or plan, with documented need based on a directive from a qualified physician, or to comply with a health or safety requirement imposed by law or as part of our district safety protocol. The use of district-owned and or issued communication devices, including but not limited to tablets, laptops, computers, headphones, or any other district-owned and/or issued electronic device is approved for instructional purposes during the school day. Inappropriate use of personal communication device during the school day will result in disciplinary action in accordance with our student code of conduct. The disciplinary actions proposed would be for the first offense, the parent or guardian must pick up the item, and it would be 1 day of ISS. The second offense would be the parent or guardian would pick up the item, and it would be 2 days ISS. The third offense would be the parent or guardian must pick up the item with 3 days ISS. And fourth and subsequent offenses, the parent or guardian must pick up the device, and it would be a 3-day suspension and a 15-day placement at DAEP. Designating a method for the storage of a student's personal communication device while the student is on school property during the school day would be limited to a backpack or a purse. We did designate the times during that school day. For our Tier 1 campuses, it would be 6:50 to 2:50, which is 30 minutes before the first instructional bell along to end at 2:50. For Tier 2, it's 7:30 to 3:30, and Tier 3 would be 8:10 to 4:10. At this point, pending your approval this evening, I will be creating slides for the campuses to incorporate in their class meetings, and that same message will be sent to every campus for consistency across the district. Yes. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, yes, sir.
Why are we limited the storage for these things just to their backpacks and their purses? I thought that the legislation read that they're not to bring them to school at all. That's what I thought I read.
You had to pick. Either we said absolutely no
We
cell
have
phone-
to pick, you're
Yes.
saying.
Either absolutely no cell phones are allowed on school campus.
So why didn't you put that up there? Is just a question, because all you did was put purse in a backpack, so that limits us to purse in a backpack.
Because we have to have a
Why then
storage.
wasn't the third one up there saying we don't let them bring them to school at all?
Because you had to pick one or the other. If the decision tonight is to not allow cell phones at all, then the communication would be sent out that they will not be allowed to have them on their person at all.
I get it.
And so it was either or. You either did not allow them on school property at all, or you had to devise this situation where we would have to provide a storage.
Again, so why wasn't it up there? We don't allow it on campus at all.
So the intention, I think, of the legislation was that they would not be available to be used in any form or fashion during the instructional day. So what the option that she's proposing does is allows children to communicate with parents before the school day, before the instructional day, and then again after the instructional day. The answer, though, to those questions that students often talk to parents about during the day, do I have band practice today? Or is it a rain out for the baseball game? Those types of things will still allow students to communicate via email with the district-issued iPad. So there still will be a form of communication with parents during the school day, appropriate use of the iPad that's been school district administered to them. But many parents express concern that they want to have that access after the instructional day, and that law only pertains to the instructional day.
I'm not sure I agree with you, Randy, but I hear you.
Can I say, I'm not a fan of them being able to email during the day either. I think that kind of negates the purpose of no cell phones.
That's right.
But one of the parents' arguments is that if they're not allowed to have their cell phone on campus at all, when they get out of practice in the evening, they have no way to call home, or what if they don't have a ride show up? There's absolutely no way for a child to communicate with their parent.
I agree with that. I agree with them being able to keep them on in their backpacks or purse or whatever, because a lot of kids stay after school for tutorials or extracurriculars or whatever. But it's the emailing during the day. I'm not.
One of the things
when I was in the office, they would allow us to go to the office and say, hey, can I use the phone? What happened to that? They can't just go ask somebody to use the phone?
At 6 o'clock at night, there's not going to be anybody around.
And during the day, it would be a disruption to their,
Right.
They only have 4 minutes to get from one class to the next. So,
As the policy states, it would be in effect during the times listed for Tier 1, 2, and 3. Anything outside those times would be they'd be available to use it.
Yes, sir.
What I've heard from parents is that, that's a way of parents keeping track of where their children are through location apps, and especially for the students that drive vehicles.
They know where they're at. They're at school.
Well, the alternative was to provide, as she referenced, a storage facility that we would be responsible for. To us, instructionally speaking, we viewed it as time-consuming for every classroom teacher to check the phone in to a shoehorn or whatever some districts are allowing them to do, and then to redistribute them at the end of the period, and then it's on their body to the next period. We just did not see that being the intent of the law. The intent of the law is no phones, period, from bell one to bell last. And that's our effort, with some consideration for parents who wish to talk to the kids before and after instruction.
Okay.
But we are here to hear the board's will this evening.
Since we had that discussion in there, one of the things that since this discussion was brought about, I think that we're going to have to look at, with going forward, is to have make sure it's consistency about implementing the new policy. So with us here and what we're saying too, I think consistency will matter. Yes, and that's just a point that I wanted to make of that. And secondly, my question would be, since we have this discussion, would teachers and school administrators receive extra training to prepare them for potential student and parent backlash? So have we did that as a district to look at those things, and as we're getting ready for the new year, and any training that we've done? Because there's going to be some issues, and backlash for that. So are we preparing our teachers and especially vice principals, who all the disciplinary falls on them?
I've already met with all of our assistant principals and student support administrators. We met a week ago. We've already discussed all the various situations, and the message that was sent today to the teachers. I provided 3 slides minus the consequences, because as I stated, that has to be board approved. So this was the proposal that we were going with. If a student has a cell phone in the classroom, they are to call the office, and either a security officer or an administrator will come and retrieve the student and or the phone. The teachers will not be having to deal with the phones. No, ma'am.
Thank you. I'm glad we
Yes.
did that. So
No.
That was my concern.
Right.
For our
No.
teachers.
We wanted to not interrupt, as Dr. O'Brien said, the instructional process. It is simply call the office, and they will be handling the situation.
I'm glad we thought about them.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Actually, our students may actually have to talk to each other.
And you're presenting, so I had to ask you the question, so I wasn't at you. It was just kind of, how come a third option wasn't up there? But, oh well. I know if I was a student, I'd die without my phone. I'd be like.
That's why we need to make sure our
Yes. Yes. We are planning, like I said, is pending your approval this evening. Communication is set to go out to the community first thing in the morning. I've already worked with Ms. David and Ms. Bonds, so we have it ready to go upon your approval, and that will be conveyed. As I stated, the slides will be ready for class meetings next week, and that communication will go out. We obviously are going to work with students the first week of school, as it is a transition for everyone. So we'll be having constant reminders. Those class meetings that they have will convey that information directly, and the plan is on Monday the 18th. It is in full force, but we are going to give at least that first week, as we have new students enrolling.
You know, we asked Foxworth about it, how we're going to get to this academic raising. This is one of the ways right here. If you ask me, all the distractions and, besides all the learning.
Our teachers will be excited not to see earbuds in their ears and things of that nature. But while we're at it, Mr. Renteria, do you want ISS when we take up your phone, or do you want OSS?
Man, you know what? At that point, it ain't gonna matter. If I'm in trouble, I'm in trouble.
So this next slide is, again, just a review of the consequences for those offenses. On the right-hand side, I know it's blurry, but that is a letter that will be done every time a student has the item picked up. The parent will come up and sign based on the number or the offense and the date of their assignment. So the parent will receive a copy of that. We will also upload a copy in Review 360. So therefore, we have a record when the parent maybe questions, they'll know this is the third offense. No, ma'am, it's the fourth offense. Here's the 3 others that you've signed.
I'm gonna make a suggestion right here on these things right here. I think we're missing a big opportunity because I remember back in the day when I was an educator, if you will, but we used to, when we would take up their phone and then they'd have to pay $15 to get it back. And then they thought.
Unfortunately, the House bill does not allow for cost. I was explaining to Dr. O'Brien that
some of the school districts started that action plan to make it $25, $50, and $100. I think in the Dallas region, and they were revoked with the clarification from the House.
TASB came back, in fact, that we were in the middle of the webinar, and they had to come back and say, we apologize, there was a typo. The law states you cannot charge, and so therefore they revoked that. And so all those that had already gone to their school boards had to go back and revise their plans. They got a little too antsy.
Hypothetically, I'm a teacher. I got a kid comes up to me, and I got a cell phone. And they say, well, I need to make this call to my parents for blah, blah this. And the teacher lets the kid make the call. What is the...
The teacher goes to ISS. No, I'm joking.
Well, but that's what I'm concerned with. I'm just asking a hypothetical question.
The administrators will be addressing teachers on an individual basis for discussion and or reprimand if needed.
Are they required to, cut off their phone, put their phone away?
This is a student code of conduct.
Okay, but I know that, but I'm saying.
So, no, sir.
There you go. I think what Mr. Sampson is saying, that if the rules apply to students, they apply to teachers as well. And by this policy that...
Well, that's flawed in a whole lot of different ways, but not really time to address all of the ways in which that would be flawed, but I understand the sentiment behind it, yes.
I think you said it right? It's the student code of conduct, not the teacher code of conduct.
Right. And this bill addresses students, it's not teachers.
Yes, sir.
So I agree with that. I think equity and fairness of the administration of this rule is very important.
I don't know if maybe it's on your next slide, but there is an exception. Have you gotten to the exception?
Oh, that was on this slide right here.
I'm sorry?
The IEP or under 504, and then our directives from a qualified physician. And I've worked with our nurse coordinator, Nurse Pena, and we will be addressing that with a significant notation with our health service symbol on the ID badges of our students that would need their phones. That way, if they are stopped in the hallway, or their teachers would obviously be aware because the nurse sends that notification, but maybe there's a sub, we are creating a unique sticker that will be placed on their ID badge. So
but
that
the use of the phone would be just for that medical purpose only, not for...
We have several, obviously diabetics, more than several, but they have Dexcoms. I just met with the nurses last Friday as well, and we discussed those. We also have some heart related that we have students that wear the smartwatches due to heart conditions that monitor their EKGs. So.
Any more questions?
Thank you, Ms. Smith.
All right, you're welcome.
And this item is number 3 under the consent agenda.
Who is number 3 on the superintendent's reports would be advanced academics and CTE updates. You are welcome, ma'am. Bring your team and be sure everyone introduces himself.
I was excited.
You're good. I know you were. Susan didn't get the email.
I sure did, and you're right.
Okay, good afternoon, President Campese and school board members. Dr. O'Brien's missing in action now, but I have a team with us again. We do have one new person that you didn't meet last week. We have Dr. Ramirez, Ms. Miller, and Amy Henderson, and Emily. You want to introduce yourself, say something about yourself a little bit? It's first time up here.
Hi, I'm Emily Olivier. I'm the new Associate Director for for K-12 Science and Health.
And Ms. Felucci is also back with us today. So we're going to go through our advanced academics update for you. And I will handle the district overview. If you look here, this is how we did in our AP data, and this is how we did in our dual credit. And I'll go into a little bit. I am going to tell you that I tried to model this PowerPoint presentation for y'all, kind of like we did last week. So I would love to hear any feedback from you. We tried to keep it very simple and very straightforward with the subject. So overall, you can see for your knowledge, in 2023, we took a deep dive in our concern about our low AP scores. So we really took a deep dive. Some of you were part of those conversations, and we really had a hard focus. And so you can see we were running pretty stagnant, 21, 22, and 23, and then we really overhauled and made some big adjustments, which I think we're seeing some benefits. So we've gone up from 28% passing, which is a 3 or better on that AP exam, to close to 50% passing. So we're excited about the growth in APs. And our dual credit, we were really working post-COVID in 21. We were still outperforming the state and the district and our students that were in dual credit, and we were running at 90% pass rate for the students who were enrolled. And then you will see we put in some efforts in 22 to make sure, kind of to answer your question earlier, Ms. Brott-Timms, we have tutors assigned to those kids. We're predominantly hiring our students that are currently at Lee College to be our avid tutors predominantly. And then we have dual credit facilitators. And then y'all have also allowed us to have some dual shared advisors that we partner with Lee College, and they actually have to advise every single student. So those measures that we've taken in place has gotten us up to a 95% pass rate for all of our dual credit. We outperform Lee College adult students in their passing rate. While I was not allowed to come up and cheat first, I did get you some numbers, some Sprott-Timms. And our numbers that you're looking at, we have 81% of our students that are taking dual credit are of color, Hispanic and African American. We primarily really target to match what our demographics are. Only 13.5% of our students are actually white. And so they do mimic our district guidelines. And another thing is the FAST law took effect. So our economically disadvantaged usually sits around 76%, and we have about 67 to 70% of the students who are enrolled in dual credit that are qualified for free and reduced lunch within the last 4 years, and they're absolutely free. All tuition, books, everything is free for those students. If you do not qualify, then what we do as a district, we charge $50 a semester. So it's very lower cost than what you would if you just walked in, because it's usually about $150 a semester or a class. Does that answer your question?
Yes, perfect. Thank you. And then again, so 70% of those that will give you free and reduced lunch, there is no cost to those students.
Right, if you qualify. And so one of the things I really want to brag on, actually Jennifer Fierro did it at her campus, and it was a major, great she actually sent out information to all of her junior high and said, hey, if you fill out this free reduced lunch form and you qualify, this is going to give you free assistance to take SAT and free dual credit if you qualify, because it goes for the last 4 years. So if I'm a 6th grader, it could give me 9th grade free classes for dual credit. So she had a great impact. So we're actually rolling that out to all the junior highs. It's a way to get our parents to actually, some of them don't want to respond, but when you're saying this free and reduced lunch form isn't just for your lunch. It could mean free college tuition for you. You're welcome. So our dual credit numbers of students, what I wanted you to see is we focus on several areas. We believe that CTE dual credit is just as important as academic dual credit. And we have, in this area, we have kids that are coming out with associate's degrees in welding and pipe fitting that are making way more money than we'll ever make up here. So looking at our level 1 and level 2, and we are targeting HVAC as a big push that we're doing. And then we have all of our programs at Stewart Career and things that y'all know, but HVAC is our newest one in maritime. So we've gone up from 89 to 150 level 1 or level 2 higher ed certifications. So this could be through HCC, it could be through the MAR Technical or Lee College, but they are a higher ed institute. And then we've gone from Core Complete, which is 42 hours, and those are a basket of core classes that are accepted at any university in the state of Texas that's a public. So it doesn't matter if you're going to Texas A&M, you're going to UT, you're going to Lamar, U of H, they have to accept all of those as a core. Now the catch is you got to get the core, you got to do it all. And so they take it. And then, so we've gone from 20 to 55, and then associate's degrees is a real target, especially when we're talking about Stewart Career and Impact. That has been a huge focus for Dr. O'Brien and I. We've lived through a lot of real trying to brainstorm and figure out how we are going to get that done. So we have to have really tight pathways. Some of our students have to take some mini masters in order to make that happen, but those are about 62 hours of college. So that's impressive that we have 122 kids this last year that graduated with that degree. So celebrations, I think this is what I really want you to hear out of everything on the celebrations, is that we actually took the six universities that our kids attend the most through the National Clearinghouse. And for your information, that would be UH Clear Lake, UH Downtown, Sam Houston, SFA, Lamar. Those are the main universities that we look at. And yes, Maine, sorry, all three of the UH actually were. And so what we did is we took the regular hours, what's the average of their college hours per semester or per hour, and we calculated that. So the students that you saw with associate's degrees equal $569,740 saved for the families of this community by what we do. That is huge. And the Core Complete, that's a savings of $202,000 this last year. And OwnRamp's courses is another $270,000 saved. So if you go down, we did talk about AP, and you'll notice that we have seen over the last couple of years a 21% growth in our AP scores. So that's a real, because that also equates to money saved for our families if they get that 3 or better. So opportunities, back to what you said, it is a constant reminder that we have to make sure that we're removing barriers for dual credit, that we are really targeting not just the academic kid who intends to go to A&M or to UH, but we're targeting that kid that may be an HVAC kid or somebody who wants to be in our community. And then we want to make sure that we are expanding our high school options into junior high. We know that junior high is where the key is. That's where they have to make those decisions. And if you're going to get a 42-hour or you're going to get an associate's degree, you have to start that in the 9th grade. You have to come in ready to go in gear. And then strengthen our AP courses, our STEM ones. And so I'm really excited to say today, we were noticed, I haven't even told Dr. O'Brien this, we received notice that we did get the NOAA Artist Boat Grant, and that is going to be really focused. We'll have an EPA component to that will focus on our AP environmental science classes that we're really excited about, that will offer hands-on training for our students. And then we have one junior high, which will be CBJ, that was selected to do some really strengthening some hands-on courses, working with university and with NOAA and with the Artist Boat out of Galveston, and they will work with their science classes. So very excited about that. And then universities have been really strategic about making sure that these kids that are going in now have Cal if they're going into a STEM major. And so we really have to make sure that our kids are taking dual credit Cal, AP Cal, and they've got that before they leave. So we had summer courses this summer for the kids that had already graduated, but we're recreating those pathways, and that is an opportunity for us to ensure our students are getting calculus before they graduate for our STEM kids. And then increasing administrator training and them understanding what's expected of the AP classes and knowing what to look for when they walk in those classrooms. Any question before I move it to Shannon? Okay, so our gifted and talented student population, we target the state targets the top 2 to 3% of students. As you can see, and we have increased our students that are identified as gifted and talented. We went from 1,741 last year to over 1,800 this year. We're at 1,888. That's 147 additional students who we were able to successfully identify as gifted and talented. They're both. They're identified and they are. So some of the things that we did for our gifted and talented program starting a couple of years ago is we migrated our testing procedures from a fully paper-based test to online testing. Those give us instantaneous results or 30 minutes or so, actually. So we're able to identify those students and move them forward in that testing process much more quickly than we did in the past, which enabled us to go to my second bullet, which is started kindergarten GT program earlier. So traditionally, we've started that Kinder GT in March, and this past year, we were able to start our kindergarten GT students on the first day of the second semester in January when they returned from our winter break. So that was a huge, huge celebration for us this year, which means we got extra funding. So that was a huge, huge goal for us, and our students were so, so excited about it. That also leads me to our Texas Performance Standard Showcase, which means that our kindergarten students were able to participate in that this past year, and they did their research project over the entire semester, as well as all of our kinder through 5th grade students with that showcase. Also, we've had long-standing success with our summer camps for our gifted and talented population in coding and rocketry. And if you've never been to one of those, I'll make sure that I get you out to one next year so that you can watch them launch those rockets or do the coding, because it's really neat to see. Some opportunities that we do have, though, are always constantly strategizing ways to increase our identification of our GT students. We don't want to miss any of them. We are increasing planning opportunities for our gifted and talented teachers because they are singletons on their campuses. We have one first grade GT teacher, one second grade on each campus. We want to expand our project-based learning for enrichment and collaboration. And we are in the process of redesigning the spring showcase to include more student choice. Rather than have it prescripted, this is what project you will be doing, we would like for our students to have more of a say-so in what they're doing. And that brings me to on-ramps. So this past year, we had 243 students enrolled in 437 on-ramps courses. And if you're unfamiliar with on-ramps is the University of Texas's dual credit. It's a year-long course. The first semester of that course is for high school credit, and the second semester earns them college credit. What's unique about the University of Texas is the student has the opportunity to choose to take that credit and earn those hours, or not earn the hours, so that they don't get transcripted if the student chooses for them not to be. So one of the big wins that we have is our chemistry pass rate is at 99%, and our physics 1 pass rate is at 94%. And those are two courses that we migrated from AP to on-ramps because of the pass rate, and students are very successful in those courses. So I wanted to make sure that I pointed that out to y'all. Do you have questions for me over gifted and talented or on-ramps before I move forward?
I have an on-ramps question.
Sure.
For the college algebra, that's a little bit concerning. Do we have too many kids in there that really shouldn't be in there, or would it make more sense to do the dual do a dual credit option?
So we had one course on one campus, and we have looked at that, and we have moved forward with migrating those students into a dual credit option.
Okay. Okay.
High school algebra and college is way different.
It is extremely different. You're absolutely right. We had one class on one campus. We had 17, yeah, right.
Which the smaller sample size also skews the data.
Exactly.
I love this
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was out of order because I spoke too fast. On our gifted and talented students, I'm just wondering of those students that started in our pre-K3 are now moving into those first graders. So do you have a percentage of those kids from that?
Yes.
Just off
Dr.
the top of
O'Brien
your head.
got tired of me blowing his phone up on a Saturday one day because that's when we got the data. But it's over 80% of the students who were identified with GT actually attended our pre-K program. So it's a huge correlation, and that speaks volumes for what the work that y'all have driven home in this district. And so we're really getting to the point where we need to shout that from the rooftops, because a lot of people think, oh, well, why early childhood? Well, that's why. And so those kids are reaping a lot of benefits from that program.
Good, and thank you. Because I think that, and also the teachers, and they work really hard, and the staff from that program work really hard.
I
And they
think it's
should be
83.
Celebrate
but
that. Yeah, we should celebrate that. Because
Okay.
they work really hard with the kids.
I hope some of those people got $5,000 a raise from the legislature. I think they should get a little bit more.
So we did see on the teachers who performed on the TIA that first year it came through, we had a whole lot of our early childhood teachers, because of the growth those kids had, that received that TIA designation.
I have another question, sorry. On the pre-cal, I know we've talked about the AP pre-cal had great success this year. So are we going to move those kids over to AP instead of on-ramps?
Yes, we were really excited. Well, we were really excited about the pre-cal, but that was the first year that we did that. So we see that this is one of those also adjustments we need to be strategic, because everything that we do is a cost to the district. So we need to get the biggest return for our investment. Any more? Okay, I'm going to move it to Sarah Flushy.
Hello, so I'm going to present on English language arts, and we're going to then go into the different content areas. Some of the things that apply to English language arts apply to the other content areas as well. So I'll go into a deep dive on a couple of pieces on the next slide that will apply to the other contents. So first, with regard to our advanced placement English courses, you can see that we are trending upward from last year with regard to the percentage of students that received 3s, 4s, and 5s. So that's what this data is showing. The percentage of students that received 3s, 4s, and 5s on the AP language and AP literature assessments. And so we're really excited about that, and we'll talk about some of the contributing factors to that on the next slide. With regard to dual credit, you can see that the percentage of students receiving credit for dual credit 1301, 1302 is considerably higher than the AP courses. And so a lot of people would ask, well, why are we not prioritizing the dual credit courses the way that we're talking about with pre-cal? And the truth is that because of limitations set forth by excess credit guidelines, we're not able to offer dual credit both in the English 3 and English 4 year. And so the alternative is we can offer that dual credit 1301, 1302 once, but then we have to also offer an AP alternative for that 4th English credit or 3rd, depending on the path that the student is on. And so that's why you see data in both places for us. And yet we are excited that we're seeing gains in AP, and we have some goals moving forward as well. So with regard to celebrations, I know you heard Mr. Foxworth talking about Bluebonnet Learning. We are really excited about the way that it provides enrichments for all students. Those are embedded, and that's a big training piece for us this year, is making sure that the students or the teachers in grades K-5 know how to push student thinking with that product, with that HQIM or high quality instructional material. And then another celebration for us, we introduced Albert IO, which is an instructional online platform for AP last year. We introduced it. So that's a celebration because it was so well received and used, but we're really excited to start the year with that program and have it all year long and really be able to measure the impact that it's having on student outcomes. In addition, another celebration is AP Classroom. Both of these tools provide more what we call at-bats, or opportunities for students to practice with this advanced learning. And AP Classroom, you can show very much that the students who are engaging more with that platform, the teachers that are accessing that information more, have better scores. It's just very much, it's very clear. And so with that in mind, something that Ms. Ramirez has done that's been wonderful is she's been transparent quarterly with our campus principals about teacher usage. Because it's not enough to just know that we have access to it. We have to know that we're using it, especially since we know that it works. And so she's sharing that data with district leaders and with campus principals to help make sure that it's happening. And then another celebration for us was an AP English language, which historically is one of the harder AP tests for English. We had 31% growth at GCM, so much so that there we're seeing them outperform the national average. So that kind of takes us to the opportunities. We know that in places, some of our AP teachers are outperforming other AP teachers. We have to let them network. We have to let them PLC together so that they can build on each other's skill set, whether they're AP or a dual credit teacher. But another opportunity is really working on vertical alignment and building backwards from those AP classes. The skills, especially with AP language, are very challenging. They're about rhetoric and composition and things the kids never encounter by going through the normal standard of the TEKS. And so we need those AP teachers and dual credit teachers to sit down, not just with each other to collaborate, but with the honors teachers in high school and in middle school, building backwards to help those honors teachers understand the skills and how to teach the skills that are going to be essential for success on that AP test. Also, that means having PD ladders in place for your GT and your honors teachers. They need to know which skills they need to pre-teach, but they also need to know how to teach them. And so working on those professional development ladders is going to be really important for our work ahead. We also want to collaborate with other districts on their GT and honors models. We see GT and honors being done really well in several other places, and we see certain programs standing out with regard to language arts. And so Ms. Ramirez and I have already met once. We're meeting again this month because we want to network with those districts, and we want to replicate and scale those good practices elsewhere here in Goose Creek. And then we also want to talk about our assessment practices that help to build stamina, testing stamina for our students. We hear people talk about a lot, there's this testing fatigue that happens with a lot of our students, not just those AP students. I'm talking about GT and honors students as well. And there are some practices that we can do locally for our local assessments that might help build that testing stamina. So for instance, they say that if the hardest test the student has to take has A through D on that assessment, we'll put A through E on all your local assessments for those students. And then when they sit down to that STAR test, which is A through D, it's like, this is easy. I've been doing stuff way harder all year long. And so looking for those ways to locally build testing stamina is something that we're hearing teachers have a call for as well. So those are the big celebrations and opportunities for language arts. Does anybody have any specific questions for that content? We're really excited for what's coming down the line, so thank you.
Okay, good evening. Amy Henderson with math. I'm going to give you some math data now. For our advanced AP courses, we did have a great increase. The students that scored 3s, 4s, and 5s were at 62%, up from 35% the year before, so that's pretty exciting. And our dual credit is sitting at about 97% pass rate, so that's great. Some of our celebrations are, this was our first year to have AP Pre-Cal. We had a 79% district pass rate, which was above the state pass rate of 73%. And actually at GCM, their pass rate was 98%, so that was really exciting. For AP Statistics, we had a 71% district pass rate, which is above the state pass rate of 52%. And for AP Calculus AB, we did close the gap with the state. We were about 29 gap points away in 2024, and we were 12 gap points away in 2025. So we closed that gap significantly. So we're excited about that. And then our dual credit math opportunities and enrollment are steadily rising after we had a prior decline. So we have a lot of celebrating to do in math for this area. Some opportunities that we have are to continue to expand support for students in the college level dual credit math. We want to continue to enhance AP math support using that Albert I.O. We are going to be working on creating a new accelerated math pathway in middle school that will allow students to actually enroll in geometry in 8th grade so that they are meeting that major university requirement of being calculus ready. We do have new middle school advanced math TEKs that are going into effect this year for grades 6 through 8, so we're going to be working hard on that area. We do have the automatic enrollment for 6th grade students who performed in the top 40% on the 5th grade Math Star, just to ensure that we're getting those kids into that advanced math pathway. We're providing that opportunity for more students. And then, of course, it starts even in elementary. So we've got to ensure that our GT classrooms in elementary are providing that rigorous instruction that's going to prepare those students to go into that advanced math pathway in junior high.
Question. On the geometry in 8th grade, not a huge fan, because typically there's this many kids that really are really at that level. And so what's that going to look like? Are you going to have a teacher teach a whole section of geometry for 1 or 2 kids per campus? Are you going to bus them to the high schools to take geometry? Is that going to work?
No, they would have to make a class. A class would have to make, and they would have to meet a criteria. We've talked about some testing. So we're hoping when we roll those TEKs back, because, you know, the state came in with that new advanced pathway, that we roll those out and we start increasing the rigor that's going on in the 5th grade, pull some of those 7th grade TEKs down. They would take algebra as a 7th grader, geometry as an 8th grader. I'm anticipating, we talked about it, most campuses would have one section, and that would be the algebra teacher teaching maybe one section of geometry. But we don't know how it's going to work yet.
Hurt a little bit.
It's caused some indigestion here as well. We are leaning on several districts that are doing it all around us, and we let them kind of pilot it first. And so we're kind of just looking to see how it's going to work right now.
We bus them to the high school because we have like 1 to 2 a year that qualify.
Not a bad idea, actually.
On the AP calculus, you put GCM. What happened to Sterling and Robert E. Lee?
Oh, you're talking about the pre-cal?
The
Yes.
98%.
They did good. You have in your board packet everybody's individual scores. They just outperformed everybody, so we just kind of wanted to celebrate them. But the other campuses did really well.
Right.
That's good.
Well, if they did well, then we should celebrate them also.
Well, when I say well, at or above the state, but not at 98%. So we're mostly, I think it's 70, about 72, I think.
So they're part of that 79% district pass rate. You know, it took all of them to
What
get
was the
there.
state?
So the state was at 73.
Oh, see, that's celebration.
So
6 points.
we did, you know, they are above the state, so we're doing well
But
there.
that is exceptional. I would just say, you know, whatever GCM is doing, we should be working with them, with, you know, Robert Lee and Sterling to get the same format or whatever they're doing there to bring those scores up so high.
Hi, I'd like to present for science. My name is Emily Olivier. For our AP courses, we're seeing growth overall in the past 5 years. We were in 2021 at 19%. We're now at 35% in 2025. And then for our dual credit courses, we're seeing very steady high success rate at 97% passing, and that's for dual credit bio. That course is actually the biology not for science students, for non-science majors, and so it provides those students with a great opportunity to get that kind of out of the way before they pursue the subjects that they want to in college. Our celebrations for science, our enrollment for dual credit courses has increased over the past 5 years. We're seeing a steady increase there. And then we've also reintroduced AP Environmental Science, and that's led to a 50% score increase. That program has been very successful. Our opportunities, right now we're working to implement the accelerated pathway to boost our AP and dual credit readiness scores. That's not something that's state mandated, but we're going to be adding IPC at the 8th grade level. We're working on accelerating our 6th and 7th grade curriculum to accommodate that. And then we're also working to support our GT programs for elementary students to start when we need to be starting in elementary school and grow those accelerated pathways all the way from K through 12. That's going to help our K-5 students be prepared for our advanced courses in junior high. We're going to be working to increase our collaboration among our AP courses, our AP science teachers. We'll be working to implement district PLCs for AP courses so that those teachers have the opportunity to work together and to learn from each other. And then finally, we're working to ensure that our pacing, our labs, and our assessments are all consistent with College Board programs and resources, or for the dual credit program, consistent with where they need to be. Do you have any questions?
Sorry. For the IPC in 8th grade, does that align with the 8th grade STAR test, or how's that going to work with that?
They actually are going to take the STAR at the 7th grade. You know, they changed it to now it's a junior high test. And the
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's junior high science. It doesn't even label it 8th grade anymore. But we are going to revamp that for 8th grade and make it a honors type course for IPC. So it won't look like the IPC you would traditionally see at the high school.
Yeah. Well, they changed those TEKS, and they're quite a bit harder than the old IPC, right?
We're hoping that we can, and I've worked with Kevin Robleski on this, I have to give him kudos, but making sure that we hit the biology component of that in the spring so that we're prepping them for the biology before they get to high school to try to get those meets and master scores up.
I was going to give Olivia credit. You're giving Kevin credit.
I have to give Kevin a shout out every once in a while. We love Olivia.
Love you, Kevin.
Okay, so we'll move to social studies.
All right, so for our AP Social Studies, we were at a 38% pass rate this year, and that is all AP Social Studies courses, and there are quite a few. In fact, our AP Social Studies, our AP Human Geography is an introductory 9th grade students. That's their first AP course. And our dual credit courses have consistently increased over the years, and we are at a 96% pass rate for our social studies courses in dual credit. So we do have some celebrations. Our GT and honors students excelled at National History Day. We had 41 regional winners, 13 state winners, and we had 1 national winner this year. So that's amazing. Some opportunities that we are addressing is aligning middle and early high school social studies curriculum for AP readiness, providing rigorous feeder courses for AP US history, AP world history, et cetera, to build those foundational skills. And again, opportunities for vertical alignment to support tested grades and pre-teach for spiral review.
Any question before we move on to CTE?
No, that's awesome, though. We got that national winner that did so well. But it just seems that 38% is kind of low to me. I mean, I know social studies is hard. I still have to lip sync the Texas Pledge. I can't remember it. I wait till Helen started it, but I mean, I know it's kind of hard, but.
Well, Mr. Renteria, that's one of the things that we're really working on because, you know, instead of we got kids that take US or AP US history and take AP dual credit U.S. history. And so we really work to align exactly what we're doing because the dual credit does not match the TEKS. So we've embedded the 11th grade U.S. history TEKS into that dual credit course. So when they're not in class on Fridays, that we can really hit those TEKS and build those meets and masters there. And that's why you're seeing an increase in the 96% because we have more kids that are taking U.S. dual credit than AP now.
Question. Why are we not catching them early like the other TEKS and bring them up to the ranks?
We are. That's why you see the specific alignment in middle school. So we're working with
elementary.
Right. Well, right now we're trying to hit 6th and 7th grade to re-spiral in so that we can see a success rate higher on our 8th grade U.S. history test.
Right.
And then we want to hit the 9th and the 10th grade to spiral in pre-teach, as you would say, for our 11th grade history.
I was just a question because I know we were capturing them earlier on the other courses, so I figured why not do the same here, but okay.
All right, good evening. I'm going to talk about CTE. So the data that I have for you here is a breakdown of those workforce college certificates that Ms. Jackson showed on the first slide. So in 2023, we were at 89, and now we are up to 150 college certificates. And so we partner with 4 different colleges to offer 14 different workforce programs where our students can earn those level 1, level 2 certificates, and they can choose to go straight into the workforce, or they can continue and get that associate's degree or a bachelor's degree. So one example, I'm going to break down for you the welding pathway. So the students take 5 dual credit courses for 16 college hours and earn a certificate of completion in a welding helper. That's at the end of their sophomore year. So they graduate and walk at Lee College at the end in the fall semester of their sophomore year. And then they take an additional 7 courses to complete the certificate of completion in welding technology. That's for 42 college hours. So if a student decided, okay, I can go to work, graduate right there, they can go into welding, but they could also take 5 additional academic dual credit courses and get their associate's degree. So it just stacks upon each other. So these are just some numbers for you to show where we currently are. 2 of our programs that are new this year, we had our HVAC program. They finished after the past 2 years, and we have 14 students who got their level 1 certificate. And then also our filmmaking, that was new this year. They graduated from HCC, and 14 of those students achieved that. So very proud of that. One other thing I want to mention, we do have 3 more pathways that are academic dual credit. So we have a total of 17 out of 29 pathways in CTE that are dual credit. So our business, our health science, and education, those are associate degrees also that we offer to our students.
Question.
Yep.
Why is process technology not in there?
That is a great question. So I just met with Lee College.
That's one of the biggest fields.
Yes, and we are trying to implement that again for next year. We're working on process tech and logistics.
Especially with Lee College, they have that.
So the problem was we had it before, we couldn't find an instructor. And so they ended up they didn't have an instructor, we couldn't find an instructor.
Because a process technician makes more money than a teacher.
Right.
That's right.
So that's what happened. We've tried really hard. Dr. Brown even tried to pull some strings with some friends. It's just that they make so much money. You have to find somebody who's almost retired that wants to teach.
Well, why can't we work in conjunction with Lee College? They have a pilot program right there.
They're trying to do it now, but that was 2 years ago when it phased out. They didn't have anybody that could teach for us. We tried.
But
they did say they have the staff right now.
Our kids can't go over there to take the course?
Yes, that's what we want to do. They just didn't have the staff, but they have assured they now have the staff. And so we're going to.
We've had a ton of kids take it.
So they wouldn't let us send our kids over there because they didn't have room, they said. But now they're trying to work with us on that, and they have more staff. They were understaffed before, they said.
There are a lot of operators that would teach that course. I'm telling you, there's a lot.
The issue that we run into is that salary. So we have to look for those operators that are retired, and a lot of them don't want to.
I'll find you one. I work with them all the time.
I would love, yes, any help, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so a big celebration, if you look at the chart at the top, in 2021, we were at 1788. That is CTE dual credit courses taken and passed, and this last year we were at 3419, so we've doubled over the past 5 years, so that's a very big celebration for us. We also had our first senior cohort of Digital Communication Academy, graduated 14 students with a level 1 filmmaking from HCC, so they walked that stage in May. We also launched our Maritime Dual Credit Program with San Jack College, and so now we officially have 4 college partnerships. Another big celebration, the picture, we went to Ed's Bistro, that's an industry partner of ours, and we did a culinary cook-off. And so they had an appetizer, an entree, dessert round, and Mackenzie in the middle, she won. She also graduated with an associate's degree, and she's going to continue on at U of H in their hospitality program. So that was an amazing event. Thank you all if you were able to join us. We appreciate that. Some opportunities, like we just discussed, we are always looking to align more pathways, and we're going to focus on, of course, process tech. And then we're also developing that level 1 certificate in logistics. And then another project we're working on, we're partnering with Lee College to expand level 1 certificate options at our new Peter E. Highland Empower Academy, because we also want to make sure those students have opportunities. And then we're going to pursue Pathways in Technology, our PTech designation for the Global Business Academy. So we already have PTech within our pocket academies at Lee and Sterling, and so we're going to add this addition at GCM. And so funding actually increased from $50 a student to $150 a student. So that's also going to be additional funding for us. So those are just some opportunities.
And for those of you that don't know, we are already model National Career Academies. And so the criteria for that model status is actually more rigorous than the PTech. So it cost us $0 to file to be a PTech at GCM, but it gets us another $100 per student in funding. I believe that's it. Any questions?
Well, just something we glazed over. I wanted to due credit, because the board's very interested in what we're doing to support academics. And I thought we kind of glazed over it a little bit. If someone could give us 60 seconds of what is Albert I.O. To be a little bit different from EIEIO.
Just a little bit different than EIEIO. So Albert is a resource, an online resource for students and teachers. Our AP students and teachers this year will have the full year of Albert I.O. It is course specific, so it is subject specific. It mimics the AP exam, so it gives them testing stamina. They are able to go in and do daily assignments, weekly assignments. It gives them that academic vocabulary. So it supplements AP Classroom and goes above and beyond, just gives them that little edge that we're hoping that we're able to give them this year that they didn't have before.
Thank you. Any other questions? Great presentation. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
All the green.
We're missing a man from this group. Where's the men? Our next superintendent's report is labeled Lamar Repurpose, and it may as well be labeled Empower Academy. We have a presentation this evening by Ms. Brenda Garcia. Please welcome her. Back.
Good evening, President Campisi, Board, and Dr. O'Brien. I am here upon your request and as a volunteer giant to present this evening. Bear with me, my presentation is about 45 minutes long. I'm kidding. Let me pull this up. Okay. All right, and Dr. Bryan is correct. It is the new Peter E. Highland Empower Academy. I labeled it Lamar Repurpose. That's just what we had referred to it all summer long to prevent some confusion there. All right, I want to talk to you, give you some information about the different phases of construction and what's been happening this summer. Phase 1 of the project, all efforts were focused on the child care center. That was our #1 priority. And the issue being that it needed to become licensed, which meant we had to have a food permit in place. We had to have the fire marshal inspect. And then most importantly, we had to have a state representative come out and verify. I learned a lot about child care centers during this process, verify that we had the square footage that was available for each student. They also helped determine how many students, how many children the center would be licensed for. They checked the exterior, the playgrounds, a lot of things. And I'm happy to say that we were able to do that in time before last Thursday, which is the first time that they had students there at the campus, because teachers came back last Thursday. And our first guests there were some of the students' children that were accepted into this new facility. And so I want to highlight that the capacity went from being licensed at the old campus from 70 students to 189 students. So that we met our goal there with creating more space for those children. And I also will venture to say that there is also still more growth capacity available for maybe next year or in the future.
And just to be clear, this is aligns with a board goal to incentivize teachers. Teachers who have children will now be able to utilize this facility as well.
Mm-hmm. And you're able to accept more because there's the space provided for them. So some of the things that we did, as I mentioned, moving playground equipment, providing fencing and gates. The majority of the play equipment is in place already. And then some of the exterior building signage at the main entrance and wayfinding, that's the driveway entrance for that Child Care Center Academy, just to kind of point direction because it has a separate entrance from the rest of the campus. Here's an example of the exterior signage that changed. It used to say Lamar Elementary here, and so now it has our new Empower Academy right above the front doors. That's the example of, on the left-hand side, of the driveway signage that points you in the right direction, and then the Little Giants Academy that's right on the outside of the front entrance to the academy. On the left-hand side, you see some of the existing play equipment, and then you'll see the new tricycle little raceway there that was installed for the tricycles there at this campus. And then on the right-hand side, that's the playground that was moved to this location. And in the background, you can kind of see some of the fencing as well that was in place. We were able to expand the fencing out closer to the perimeter to give them a lot more space. And the space between what they used to have and now is incredible. So they have a lot more space to run around in.
And they're divided by age level?
Yes,
is that right?
and they have 3 sections, and so they're able to be kept in each different section, but of course have access into for a case of emergencies. Wanted to share with you some examples of your typical Lamar Elementary classroom and how those were being used prior to the conversion to the renovated classrooms for the Little Giants Academy. On the right-hand side, you'll see everything's set up and ready to go for them there with all of their furniture in place. So phase 2 was moving on to the remainder of the campus, including everything that needed to be done for the Empower Academy itself, the virtual academy. Also, the truancy department was moved to this location, and then the administrative staff as well. Furniture needs were addressed with the majority of existing furniture, and I'll share some photos with you here, but that's been quite a feat in itself. Obviously, we wish we could have provided new furniture, but we wanted to make do with what we had as much as possible. The new marquee has been, new campus marquee is currently being installed. The brickwork has been placed, and they're installing the lighted portion of that marquee this week, and some of the exterior signage. The campus is also awaiting 2 additional marquees that can be seen from the street level. You saw the one under that canopy. There's one that's going to be on the building on the brick that you can see as you drive up or drive by that's more noticeable. That one was just right under the canopy. And then one above the gym area as well. So those are yet to come. And then pending for this phase is still the installation of the interior graphics. And those are being reviewed right now by the principal. This is a little bit of what I was talking about. And so you can see here, this was our staging areas. On the left-hand side, you'll see the gymnasium that was a holdover area for all of the classroom furniture. Everything got moved out of all of the classrooms, all of the offices, and into both of these spaces. On the right-hand side, you'll see the cafeteria. And as you can see, it was absolutely full. That remained that way, except for some furniture that was requested by other campuses that was due to rezoning increases or changes. And so before the end of school, those principals were able to submit what they were needing. We tried to, as best as possible, fulfill those request and send that furniture out to those campuses, but the majority stayed here because we wanted to make sure we had furniture to refill those classrooms and the office furniture as well. On the left-hand side, you can see the original main entrance, and obviously it has, you know, the Lamar mural and colors, and on the right-hand side is the renovated main entrance. So obviously quite a difference there, and the look and feel. We were also able to install some overhead lighting here, some can lighting. The previous entrance, you can see there was only up lighting on the left-hand side, and it felt kind of dark in there when you walked in, and so now it's nice and bright. On the left-hand side, again, this is the reception, the red color that was used for Lamar, and then on the right-hand side is everyone's been loving saying this color because it's called splashy. So splashy is everywhere at this campus, but it's very bright and cheerful. And then the main stairs there, you can see the difference in the color there. So I want to share with you the original library area on the left-hand side. You can see it doesn't look offhand like a bunch of changes, but there was quite a lot of change. Some of the bookcases, this is looking out towards the entrance of the library, towards the front of the campus, and you'll notice all those bookcases that are on that left-hand side towards that back wall, all of those were removed to make way for a computer. So technology played a big part of the renovations and the expense for this campus as well, because as some of you may be aware, all of the classrooms for Peter Highland require 8 computers per classroom on top of 2 computer labs that were installed in this campus. Unfortunately, we were not able to keep an original computer lab location because that was in the child care wing, and so that had to be moved to a different location. On the right-hand side, I took that picture last Wednesday, and they were already using that space for training, and this is a child care group. These are the computers that I was talking about that were in the library. On the left-hand side, you can kind of see on some of those columns, some of the murals that were more appropriate for an elementary campus, and now it's just has a more mature feel to it. This picture is the renovated truancy center. We were able to take a complete classroom and part of a large storage area to convert a suite entirely for the truancy department. Okay, yet to come is phase 3 and the final phase of this project, and hopefully you'll have someone else up here presenting to you when that is completed. We are on our way to having everything, all of the work has been contracted and will begin as soon as possible. And what I want to say is that phase of work was a lot in that gym area. And as you can see, it was full for the entire time. They're still working on moving furniture all over the place, and not just out at previous Lamar, new Peter Highland Empower into those classrooms. We also had to move the point into the old Peter Highland building, and then trying to figure out where furniture is missing or where it needed to be moved from within the campus itself. And so that work is still ongoing, and it's been quite a lot. All of the boxes and all of the different furniture. We also identified some minimal furniture that needed to be purchased as well. So the work included will provide, at this area will provide student and community spaces to allow opportunities for the district, future district food bank program, workforce readiness, and then numerous other potential benefits for the community and the students themselves. So as far as the budget, we requested $2.8 million total. That includes for all of these items and the phase 3 as well. Marquee replacement, exterior signage, demo and construction phases, technology, as I mentioned, furniture, fixtures, and equipment. Because the child care center grew quite a bit, there wasn't furniture that existed for the amount of classrooms, so we also had to outfit some of those extra classrooms with a lot of furniture. The playground relocations, and then again, as I mentioned, extensive moves throughout, and fencing and gates, and all of these funds have been encumbered for this project. That is my presentation this evening, if you have any questions. Yes, sir.
So I hear rumor that we're gonna have a free food giveaway over there. Is that true? And a meat storage locker over there. Is that true?
Well, it wouldn't be us, it'd be the Houston Food Bank,
So
who we partner with. Yes. They already visit many of our campuses across the district to provide food to families.
But the taxpayer paid for them to store their food there? Is that what we're
The
saying?
building's already there.
No, but you can't you have to refrigerate food. Do we have a refrigeration?
So there'll be a dry commissary, and there may be a refrigerated portion as well.
There may be, or there is? Because I hear.
Well, we scheduled it.
Okay, so there is gonna.
Yes, there is a plan for one. Dr. Price had been working with Houston Food Bank several years ago to have a frozen food locker set up in the parking lot of Lee High School. And so it has been under consideration for the last several years, maybe 5 years or more. And
I've been here for 4. I never heard of it.
Okay. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
It's part of the partnership with Houston Food Bank. They want to provide. Dr. Price, I don't have the information on whether or not they were going to provide that standalone locker, or was that part of our obligation?
They were going to provide the standalone locker.
So they were. So it may be that they have the resources to do that, but we also have heard, as everyone has, there is some cuts to federal programs. So we're not hanging our saddle on it, but it is planned, a part of our plan, to be able to have food opportunities for children and family members in that zone.
Okay, I didn't know we were in the food business like that, but I've been hearing rumors that that's what's going on, and that's why I'm asking. Because, and also with this child care, who's gonna pay for this person to be, is that gonna be the taxpayer paying for this child care person taking care of all these children that are there?
So this has been a part of Peter E. Highland for the last 50 years. It's nothing new.
So they're doing that over there.
The expanded opportunity would be for those families that do not qualify, and they will pay a tuition for that.
So in keeping with that, so now that the teachers can use that facility for babysitting also, that wasn't a part of the Peter Highland program, was it?
No, sir. That was part of our expansion to provide incentives to keep our teachers here in Goose Creek.
Yeah. Teachers have been using it, and they pay for it.
Okay.
Just like they do daycare.
So it's designed for qualifiers, but we have, has it been piloted or has it been authorized like that since its inception?
It's been, teachers have been using that. It's just been a hidden gem, so it wasn't available to most of our faculty. You had to kind of know about it, but it's been available on a small scale for them at CISD.
Well, first and foremost, because of capacity, and I think she presented, we're tripling or quadrupling the size, accessibility.
Are you saying capacity for students that we have, or I asked specifically about the teachers?
So we have that many seats available.
Right.
So right now, every single teacher that has applied, we've had a spot for them for this coming year.
Okay, but the question was that in the program before? And let me just say before you answer it, because I worked at Peter Highland, so I know exactly what was there.
It has been there since I got in this position for 5 years. I know Ginger has some background. You know how long they've been there? It's probably been close. It's not been since he was. So it's about, I'm gonna say at least 5 years they've had teachers get there up to the total number of seats of about 60.
But we have discussed it at the administrative level, but we also discussed it at the board level as that incentive to retain teachers. It's a teacher retention program. We've talked about increasing their insurance. We've talked about their salary. We've talked about different methods and modalities to retain
We
teachers in
also
Goose.
talked about the minimum amount of money we were gonna spend, and we ended up spending $3 million.
No, we set a budget of 2.8, and that's what we have.
No,
We have not.
didn't. When we first started this discussion, we said there'll be minimal expenses when we put this together. And in fact, I would like to know what the minimal expense for the furniture was. What was that? You mentioned a minimal expense for furniture.
That's still ongoing, just because we're still identifying needs. For example, I'll give you an example. There were science tables that were there. They were for elementary school students. Those were moved to a different campus. We have high school students. They expanded the science that they were able to have there. So they had one science classroom at the old Peter Highland. We moved all of those desks, but now they have an additional classroom. So now we need additional high school student-sized science tables. So that's why I say by minimal.
But
So
two
back
things
to
are
the
going
original
on.
question when you said minimal expenditure for furniture.
That's correct.
What was it?
I don't remember the exact amount off the top of my head,
But we're not through spending either, so you don't know that number
but
neither.
all the funds have been encumbered. We're just identifying.
So you don't know what it is?
$2.8 million, sir.
No, but I'm talking about just for the furniture.
We
Not
would-
for all the renovations.
No, we would
and-
have to look that up for you to tell you an exact amount.
This
We don't
is
have
what
a
I
line item for
specifically
that,
asked
but
for.
We can say that we've reused as much furniture as possible, and the furniture that could not be used on site went to other campuses
Correct.
that had voids. And furthermore, any furniture on the campus that could not be used on site or at another campus has been sent to auction in order for the auction to generate funds to purchase furniture. So the operation is, I mean, I know you're thinking it's a large amount of money, but for the comprehensive nature of moving 3 programs under one roof and making it one umbrella, it's very, very minimal. I'll continue to use the word minimal. But
To you, it's minimal, but when we
for a
first
building that
discussed
is
this, we were
$60
not,
million to
but we were not
rebuild
gonna
that building
spend this
today.
kind of money. And
I'm sorry, Mr. Bedini, you're going to have to come up. We can't hear you. There's a microphone right here for
I'll
you.
reiterate one of the points that I made. At the old Peter Highland campus, there were 6 classrooms for Child Care Center. And those were outfitted already. They were licensed. They had the furniture that was required for that license. We expanded to 14 classrooms. And so those additional 8 classrooms had no furniture. So that had to be purchased in order for us to be able to expand the seating capacity from 70 to
And
100
another example was when the building did have pre-K down this hallway, which we utilized the most fitting portion of this building that had pre-K already in it, to have the youngest children modeled at the shelves were at that level and those types of things. There was one modification required. Most every classroom had a sink. And to pass the licensure for daycare, it had to have 2 sinks. So that is an example of a minimal expense that had to be added to, which the plumbing was already there for the 1 sink. So they had to schedule plumbers to come in and add an additional sink.
along the same wall where there was already plumbing to minimize the expense.
well, listen, the story has really changed from the inception. And I just want to say this, Randy. I know you're leaving, but you know, every time you have to jump in, there's a reason why. And I'm just saying, I was against this because, first of all, I didn't want to lose Lamar. Now we have a food bank coming. We got food stores there. We're giving away food. That's, to me, I get for the people that need to eat and we feed them on the kids and all that. Now we're childcare, which we were before, but we're expanding, you know, and you know, our focus, in my opinion, again, we should have left that alone and focused on our academics instead of, you know, all this food. I get it. People need stuff, and there are students. I get it. But I was there too, and I grew up that way, you know, and for us to get in the business of having to feed almost Baytown, everybody, and have a pantry set up, that's kind of a...
It's generally done by our churches. You're correct. Our churches are one of the facilities that offers food.
Right.
But a school system, it is a program with the Houston Food Bank in which they do partner with schools to do the very same thing they do at churches. So that's all it is. But the other thing, you're missing something here. The job preparedness is a part of the program. The GED opportunity, the learning English as a second language and/or Spanish as a second language.
I'm not
Those are
missing it.
things that will complement not just the students, and that's the primary purpose for this campus is the students, but it is the families because they are part of who we
Right.
serve.
Let me correct you. I'm not missing it. I just think it should be done a different way, just like the rezoning. That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
And look
sir.
at all the money we spent. I mean, that's a
I
lot of money
understand.
we spent.
Can I
But
add
we're
another
talking about
comment?
a $60 million potentially would it be cost to rebuild that building, and we took it from having less than 50% capacity or about 50% capacity to now the entire building, by adding the other programs to the campus, we'll be utilizing it at 90 to 95% efficiency. So I think to our taxpayer, who you are legitimately concerned about is wasting taxpayers' dollars, I don't think that's the case here. We're making a building that was inefficient, extremely efficient, providing more services than it ever did before. So I mean, I don't want to close down buildings. Let me be clear. That's not something that we want to do, but because of budget reductions in funding, we had to take measures, as every school district across the state of Texas had
The
to.
other thing is using the bond money that was left over. You know, this is some of the reasons why people are skeptical about.
Well, that was all done 100% transparent
I
and
get it.
publicly.
I was
and-
here. I voted against it. I know.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
All
that-
right. Well, what would you have us do with the money?
Well,
Just sit in a
actually,
bank account?
I would use it for something else. You know, we have all kinds of programs that we could build. We could pay more teachers to educate and
You can't
focus on
use bond
academics.
funds. You can't use bond funds to pay.
Okay, but I'm just saying the mismanagement of money.
It's not mismanagement.
Okay,
I'm sorry,
but-
I have to object. That
Okay,
it's not
I get it,
mismanagement.
I get it, but in
if
the
we're
eyes,
creating something
but
that
in
is
the
of
eyes
better
of the
quality
public,
for our public.
in the eyes of the public, it is.
It's not if we're being completely transparent, telling them every step we're taking along the way, and you come tour the building to see the end product.
Okay, let's talk about the committee with this money. The committee didn't say to use that money for this at all. That's not what they asked for us to use this money for.
Okay, let me interject at this point, because now we've ventured onto something that's not on the agenda. Let's keep it to the Lamar.
No, but it is. It's
update.
this money of this project that we're talking about.
I want to add the point that because of this renovation, we've also allowed the Point campus to move off of the old San Jacinto campus, which was a detriment to this district. They are no longer housed there, and we can take that building offline when needed. It was extremely expensive to maintain, and we don't know what was coming next to be you know, catastrophic or whatever it may be.
Right.
So-
We knew that the utilities alone, not counting repairs to them, was becoming a financial obligation.
Right.
But to your point, Mr. President, I apologize for getting off track. And Mr. Renteria, I respect you immensely for your position that you've stated tonight.
I'm just going to
But
bring it
it's-
out. You know,
right, and I agree with
people come
you.
to me and they tell me all these things that I already knew before I even asked y'all.
I agree.
But, you know,
I just don't
and
think
I'm
using
surprised
the
that the
word
board
waste-
didn't say more because they heard the same things I heard when we first started this project.
So I think the people that are listening will value the end project and the end product that we're providing to this community. I think that's what I'm charged to do, is to carry out the mission of the board. And I think this campus will be a nice capstone project that this board and the community can be extremely proud of.
And I hope so, Randy, but I'm gonna tell you right now, it started off on the wrong foot when we did away with Lamar Elementary, because right there, you broke a community up that was so solid. That's something you can't gain. You can't grow that. You talk about growing giants. We were growing a family of giants right there, and we broke it up. And so I hope this thing turns out good, but, you know, I'm just telling you that, you know, when you
Thank
try
you.
to look at the overall picture of where, all
It's
these
the
little
last
Marsh
thing we want to
students-
do is close a campus. I assure you that from an administrative standpoint. I know it's the same position with the board. No one wants to close campuses, but when you are operating at 50%, the cost exceeds our budget and our capabilities with the level that we're funded at right now. But I want to give Mr. Clem, did you have something to say to wrap up the project, but wrap up our presentation tonight?
I just wanted to add that in terms of how much additional furniture we had to buy, making sure we're utilizing furniture from all three campuses.
Right.
We only had to purchase 12 additional science tables.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Are there any other questions for this panel?
No.
Ms. Garcia?
Before concluding the presentation, I got Ms. Garcia here under the guise of a presentation, but I wanted to publicly, not embarrass you or humiliate you, but to publicly thank you. I think our board knows this, but the general public might not know it, but Ms. Garcia has led the charge along with her team. I see one member back there, Mr. Riggs. Bruce, thank you for being here this evening to show support for Ms. Garcia. Mr. Carl Berg, Terry, I appreciate the team that she has been working with over the last 10 years. The 2013 bond, the 2019 bond, and the capital expenditure programs that Ms. Garcia has managed total $718,766,500, which is a lot for a small but fierce team of construction, planning, and facilities to manage. And along with the help of LAN, we want to thank you. But Ms. Garcia, we brought you here to say thank you publicly to you for your hard work. I know you work long hours, and you've proven your worth and your value, and we wish you well in your new endeavor going on to another school district. And I just wanted to publicly say thank you.
Thank you so much. I will continue to be a giant.
And we're going to get a photo op real quick for you. I ordered you a big, huge plaque. I did, and it came in today as a little bitty plaque. So we're going to take a picture with this, but I'm going to get you another plaque.
Perfect. It's travel sized.
How about a big check?
That's the way to think about it.
We'll take a second one.
That was cute.
That was cute. Cute with two guys that ain't cute.
All right, that concludes superintendent's reports. Board members.
I'll have one more. No.
We will move on. Board members, I have a minor adjustment to the agenda. It was an error on my part. 7C5, discussion of board operating procedures, shows to be in closed session. I'm moving that to open session. It'll be 7B4. So 7C5 will be moved to 7B4 in open session. And with that, Dr. O'Brien, we'll move on to item number 7, action items.
Just because it's bugging me, Mr. Flood, would you help me? Our action item 7A, consideration of consent agenda. 1, donation from Goose Creek CISD Education Foundation designated grant by Education Foundation of Harris County and the Harris County Department of Education. Number 2, donation from Goose Creek Memorial Band Booster. Number 3, 2526 Student Code of Conduct. Number 4, Senate Bill 401-UIL Homeschool Opt-Out. Number 5, proposed 2526 Junior School Cheer Guidelines. Number 6, proposed 2526 High School Cheer Guidelines. Number 7, proposed 2526 Drill Team Constitution. Number 8, proposed 2526 Performing Arts Handbook. Number 9, proposed 2526 Athletics Handbook. Number 10, agreement for the purchase of attendance credits. Option 3, agreement netting Chapter 48 funding and to delegate contractual authority to the superintendent. Number 11, Memorandum of Understanding, MOU between Goose Creek CISD and Barbers Hill ISD, partnership for our Special Olympics program. Number 12, final option to extend competitive seal proposal, CSP, for plumbing contractor services on an IDIQ basis. Number 13, CSP as the delivery method for the Baytown Junior School roof and building repairs project. Number 14, final option to extend CSP for transportation equipment, supplies, and related services. Number 15, final option to extend CSP for solid waste management services. Number 16, second option to extend request for proposal, RFP, for the Early Learning Childhood Program and authorize the superintendent or designee to vet and execute the 25-26 contract for services and related products. Number 17, RFP for janitorial and maintenance services at the District Central Administration Building. That concludes the consent agenda as recommended by administration for the Board of Trustees to consider and approve.
Administration is recommending items 7A 1 through 17 be approved under consent agenda. Are there any items that any board member would like to pull for discussion or separate consideration at this time?
I was looking at something that dealt with cheerleading on sponsors, where
what item number, Mr. Sampson?
Junior high school level, as well as, I guess, high school level. Who are the sponsor when they say sponsor? Is that?
The teacher.
Okay, it's a teacher, not a parent.
Yes, sir.
Sponsor. Okay. Then I had another question in the same, for dress code, about conduct about how hair goes. It has to be a ponytail that has to be pulled back.
Was that in the student code of conduct or the athletics handbook?
That was in the...
Is Ms. Smith still here?
The cheerleader.
Cheerleader also. Yeah, cheer guidelines.
That would be probably for safety purposes, doing flips and tosses and jumps.
What if everybody don't have enough hair for a ponytail?
Well, it's only in the fact that it would be in the way, I believe.
So just because Zoe was a cheerleader, if girls had short hair, they obviously couldn't put it up in a ponytail. But if they had hair long enough to put in a ponytail, they like them to all have their hair the same way.
Yeah, and I understood that part of it. I was just saying the general, you know, part like that, saying, what if I have cancer and I got bald head like mine?
Then you don't have a ponytail.
Are you gonna?
I'm gonna take one on you.
You get 2 demerits, Mr. Sampson.
Do I need to buy
2
a
demerits
ponytail
for no
and put it
ponytail.
back
No,
there,
sir.
you know?
No, sir, it would not apply to you, obviously.
Yeah. I was just curious. I was reading that. I was going like, okay.
Mr. Sampson, are you okay with leaving those in the consent agenda, or do you want them pulled for separate consideration?
No, that was just a question.
Okay, were your questions answered okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna tag on him. With all these handbooks, is it free, completely free to be a cheerleader?
No.
Not at all? Okay. Then where in the handbook does it discuss costs?
It says
It changes every year,
I
and it
would
depends
say
on
that
if you're
it
a
would
new
be at the first parent meeting.
student.
Where does it say it has costs?
It's in there, but they don't say how much.
Mr. Flood, Mr. Levan, if y'all would join us, Dr. Levan.
Yeah.
And before y'all start, they're all very well written, but it's like, I get to be a cheerleader for free. I get to be in drill team for free. I get to be in performing fine arts for free. I get to be in athletics for free. And I get to wear a uniform for free.
No.
Not exactly. Well, both
Go
first. You want me to go ahead? First, I'll just say that, Mr. Sampson, if they escalated that to me, I would absolutely overrule those 2 demerits. So I just wanted you to know that.
Okay, yeah.
I got your back. It would be a problem. Mr. Clem, the idea for the overarching handbooks and the guidelines that we have is just as a baseline. So all of that is actually articulated at those first parent meetings and that when they distribute those guidelines and that information at each individual campus, at each individual parent meeting.
So before they can even try out or before they have to go to the parent meeting, and at that time they're explained to them this is what it costs and this is what it's like to be in these programs.
I'm thinking the board has heard from parents about how costly it is. Is there anything the district's doing on that behalf? I'm sorry, Mr. Cole. Go ahead.
My turn. So there are more handbooks tacked on to these handbooks,
Yes, sir.
and we're not approving those.
The only time that you have that would be in the performing arts, not the cheer and not cheer, not drill team.
Okay, so there's no cost to be a cheerleader,
No, sir, that's not what we said.
but that's not in the handbook.
We can't articulate every single cost for every single campus.
You can
based on.
articulate that it's not free to be a cheerleader.
We can definitely make that change.
You can articulate that there's more than one overnight trip to pay for to be in drill team. You can articulate that there are fees involved in being in fine arts.
Certainly.
Because if I've signed my kid up for all of this and then we go the first day and they say, oh, by the way, it's going to cost $6,000, then I have a disappointed kid when I say I can't pay for that. And that's always a big problem. I'm dealing with it right now with a former student. So,
Mr. Clem, would you like those items pulled for separate consideration?
I sure would.
Okay, and what items are we?
5, 6, 7, 8, and 9.
So the question would be,
We'll look at those separately.
At least say there's going to be more information regarding fees.
Okay.
And there's going to be fees involved.
Okay, let me go ahead and interrupt here, and let's not put the cart before the horse. I'm going to pull 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 for separate
And then
consideration.
on number 13, are we square with the insurance on the Baytown Junior roof yet?
yes, sir.
We are? Okay, thank you.
That's what we could have used that money for. The Baytown Junior roof for the
Okay,
Robert E.
set
Lee.
tight for just a minute because we're going to come back to y'all in just a moment. So administration is now recommending under consideration for consent agenda items 7A 1 through 4 and 10 through 17. What's the pleasure of the board?
I'll move to approve.
I second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Guy, and I heard it to my left first, second by Mr. Martinez, to approve 7A 1 through 4 and 10 through 17. Is there any further discussion on these items? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by show of hands. Any opposed? Any abstentions? So I show 6-4, 0 against, 1 abstention. The motion passes. We'll now move on to items 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Mr. Clem, would you like to take those together or separately?
Together, slide.
All right. So at this time, I'm looking for a motion to approve 7A, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And after we have those motions, we'll bring it up for discussion.
So move.
I have a motion by Ms. Barat-Timms for 7A, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9.
I'll second.
And I have a second by Mrs. Guy. I'll go ahead and open that up for discussion now. Mr. Clem, go.
I already said my piece.
Okay.
So the question would be, the modification would include an asterisk that would notate that joining these extracurricular programs are not free, and that there is a cost associated with it that is borne by the parent.
The motion is just to accept them as they're.
Right, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we're in discussion.
We're in discussion, so now is a good.
Now I've said my piece.
We can definitely go back and pull I know there's during the parent meeting and find that information and make sure that we go back and add this.
Probably not going to happen.
Well,
Have we ever accepted anything with saying that it's not free, or why have we not included it?
Well, before they even get to the point of the guidelines, they have a parent meeting with those children that are interested in the program, and during that time, they're told the cost of the program. So I've never thought about adding it to this. I mean, I'm new to this, to the fine arts. I guarantee I've been a parent, and so I've read this and I've been through these, and it was not free.
Right.
So.
Well, that's kind of understood, that's not going to be free.
I get it. So if we can definitely add some clarity to these programs to make sure that it's well aware that these programs are not free and costly to our students.
And the department thanks you for your financial contribution, Mr. Flood.
What I'm hearing is that we want to be very transparent about this. Am I correct?
So he wanted to have that it's not free, at least annotated on there.
What's the pleasure of the board on that?
I'm okay with it.
I have a motion. Or you can amend the motion.
You can amend
You may
it.
amend it, or we can take a vote.
A friendly amendment to add the verbiage on there that you want.
So I move that we amend the motion. Wait, but we vote on it first, right? And then we have to vote on the motion that was made, I think.
And then make an amendment.
And then make a new motion. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for Robert's Rules update.
I really thought you could do it in the process, but either way it works.
Yeah, I believed you could do it in the process as well. We'll just go ahead and take a vote on it. We're voting on items 7A, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
Are we voting up? We're voting for it?
We're voting, okay, let me start again.
Yeah.
All in favor of approving items 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 as presented, please signify by show of hands for this item.
6, 7, 8, 9. To approve it?
To approve it as written. Any opposed?
I'm not following you with it.
I'm in New York, somewhere out there.
Okay. So we have so we have a.
You're always in New York, by the way.
Well,
So
at least I got a train, right?
There you go.
Motion on the table to approve it as written with no changes.
And we just voted it down.
Okay, for the,
And there's discussion that that's not acceptable among several board members, so.
I'm with you now.
We need to take a vote on this item, and if it passes, it passes. If it doesn't, we'll come back for another one. Is that clear now? Okay.
Clear for me. Thank you.
So all in favor as presented, please signify by a show of hands.
can I get back on this train right fast?
Yes, we're starting over.
Okay.
So don't vote.
I'm
Abstain.
On athletics.
He's still in New
Can I
York,
have a
baby.
question on that?
Just abstain.
It's not a big question. Would that be one of them?
No, we're on 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9.
Okay, we'll go with it.
Okay,
I asked that afterward.
so I've already asked for all 4. Any opposed? Motion fails 7-0. I'll entertain the pleasure of the board on 7A, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9.
Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8.
All right, I think I got it. I move that we approve guidelines, constitutions, handbooks with the amendment that they say costs are involved and will be explained at a parent meeting.
Second. I'm sorry. A second.
Okay. I have a motion by Mr. Clem and a second by Ms. Barat-Timms to approve these items with the amendment that costs would be explained ... Good. Any discussion now?
Yeah, I have a question about one that's not included. Is 9 included in this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Athletics handbook, go.
And the question is, it's not really a question, it's a request. Can we get a copy of the UIL rules that on the 9?
Sure, we can send it to you. Yes,
Okay.
of course.
That's all I want. We can move on.
Thank you, Mr. Sampson. Any further discussion on 7A, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 to approve as amended? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor by a show of hands to approve. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you so much. All right.
Now you know.
We will move on to 7B1, future board agenda items. And we have, so far we have graduation update, DIP and CIP. Are there any other future board agenda items? That's coming up.
Not remembering my board policy and wanted us to review.
Board operating procedures?
No. The timeline and the naming policy. BE? Is that BE?
I don't. Okay. And do you want that added to a future board meeting?
Yeah.
That'll be the timeline on the naming policy. Got it.
Do any of my outstanding administrators have board policy memorized? Is it BE local that's the naming policy? Whatever the naming policy is, I want that BD. It's in the B series.
Okay, I have that noted. Any other items for future board meetings? All right, we'll move on to board training, item number 2. Do we have any discussion on board training? We have a...
Noemi probably has a report for September.
TASB EdCon will be in Houston, September 11 through 14, 13. Board members, if you plan to attend, please let Ms. Garcia know at the close of this meeting. All right, very good. Moving on to 7B4, which came out of closed session in an open session, discussion of board operating procedures. This is an item that we started several months ago. Assigned to that committee are Mrs. Guy, Mr. Clem, and Ms. Brott-Timms. Let's talk about it a little bit. Where are we and where are we going with this?
I thought we were going to do a board workshop. I thought that was the last thing we had talked about.
Okay, there was kind of a changing of hands at that point when I switched seats and had to step off of that committee. Do we want to move forward with a board workshop to go over board operating procedures? This is something that came up a few times because it's very outdated. Some of that stuff referenced back 10, 15 years ago, and it needs to be updated.
Mm-hmm.
What about a team of 6?
Team of 8? I'm not sure who she was eliminating. 6, 8, 10.
I think she cut me out.
Would y'all like board? Can we do board operating procedures as a team of 8 training?
Yes.
Am I hearing that the board would like to do that as our team of 8 this year?
Yes.
Consider it done.
You don't have to know.
Well, I don't think we ever got to it.
Right. All right. Ms. Garcia, would you poll the board via email to see when we get that workshop scheduled? For team of 8 training for board operating procedures. All right, we will move on to closed meeting. The board will now recess into closed session pursuant to one or more of the following sections of the Texas Government Code, sections 551.071, 072, 073, 074, 075, 076, 082, 083, 084, 087, and 089. No action will be taken while the board is in closed session. The time is now 8:36. We convene in open session. The time is now 10:20 p.m. No action was taken while the board was in closed session. All right, we will move on to item 7E, consideration of personnel. Dr. O'Brien?
Administration would recommend to the board to approve elections, accept resignations and retirements as presented.
So moved.
I'll second.
Ooh, I heard a motion by Mr. Clem and a second by Mr. Renteria.
Oh, perfect.
That's for, that'll work.
Any discussion on this item? All those in favor, please signify by show of hands. Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Administration brings before the board for consideration a few administrative positions, one being the selection of an educational diagnostician, more than one. We have Edith Navarro and Lisa Spray for educational diagnostician.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Guy and a second by Mr. Sampson. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor? Unanimous, 7-0, the motion passes.
Administration recommends instructional specialist for social studies, Stephanie Schrull.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Martinez and a second by Mr. Clem. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor? Seeing 7-4 and 0 against, the motion passes.
A specialist literacy coach, Stephanie Stoltz.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Renteria and a second by Mr. Clem. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor? The motion is unanimous and passes.
That concludes recommendations from administration regarding personnel.
Thank you, Dr. O'Brien. We'll move on to item number 8, consider and take possible action concerning employee grievance appeal filed by Jennifer Ponton. What is the will of the board?
I move that the board deny the appeal and uphold the decision at level 2.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Clem and a second by Mr. Renteria to deny the appeal. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by showing a raise of hand. The vote is 7-4, 0 against. The motion passes unanimously. Item number 9, consider and take possible action to terminate the term contract of Demetrius Haynes for good cause. What is the will of the board?
I move that the board take action to terminate the contract of Demetrius Haynes for good cause.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Clem and a second by Mr. Renteria to terminate the contract of Ms. Haynes for good cause. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor? The vote is 7-0. The motion passes. We'll move on to item 10, and that's to consider proposals regarding superintendent search and related action. We've been provided with several packets, and we could open the discussion or for public discussion on these packets today. And I can tell you roughly we have a few options available to us today. We could take no action and choose to proceed with this in-house and not hire a third party. We can hire one of the ones that have been presented to us today as a professional service, or we can request any of these or others to be proposed to come in and give us a presentation at a future board meeting or workshop.
Are we just discussing right now?
Yes, we can discuss it.
Okay.
We
I feel like we need to try to make a decision as soon as possible. Like in one of the packets, they said it could take up to 120 days, which leads us right up to almost Christmas, at least right around Thanksgiving break.
Yeah. When is our next meeting?
Mrs. Garcia?
It won't be Labor Day, right?
No,
Okay.
September the 8th.
8th, okay. And that's, yeah, that's too long away.
Well,
Yeah.
I would agree. We started this process with 6 months roughly to go through this process. My personal feeling is that we do need to get started on it. This, for me, and I've said this publicly, I've said it privately, this is the most important decision that I believe this board is going to make this year. And I would like the time to really dig in and look at all applicants and really put the time in it we need to. So I would agree that I don't want to, kick it down the road and, get behind the 8 ball and have to rush through the process. Of course, if we did go that route, we have options available to us there. But I think the school year is starting in the next couple weeks. The presentations that I went to, this is the opportune time to really start searching for a superintendent because parents are back engaged, students are back in school, and this is the time when we'll get the best community feedback. So I agree now is the right time. But it's just the will of the board and what we would like to do and how we'd like to proceed.
I agree with everything you've both said.
Yeah.
You took my speech.
Yeah, Mr. Clem, I watched you for several years. I modeled good behavior sometimes.
That is scary.
Yeah.
All right. And
I agree with it because, like you said, I've been through the process. So it's nothing you can do like tomorrow. You need to make sure that whoever the next superintendent comes in create the same values we are looking for in this community. And unless we do that right, then we could have problems with us. So I think we need to either get a consultant to help us with it, because us trying to do it ourselves and all of the times it takes, I don't think we have the time. So first off, we need to find the proper people to help us do this. And Noemi has sent out some dates for a call meeting, special meeting.
I don't think that we were all available at the same time until September. I think that's where the problem is.
So I can speak to that a little bit more because I sat down with Dr. O'Brien and Noemi and we looked at the dates. The next time that a significant amount of people or a quorum of this board would be able to come together would be at our next called meeting or our next regular board meeting, which would be September 8th. And that puts it, at minimum. I think every firm out there will say you can do it in 60 days if you're just really, everything, if all the stars align, you can do it in 60 days. I don't believe that's the direction I want to go. I'd rather have a little time to really look at candidates and go from there. So if we pushed it out to September 8th, then you're talking October, November at the very earliest. And I think that cuts the timeline a little close. I think let's talk about first, do we want to go with a consultant to help us through this process, or do we want to take ownership of the process ourselves?
Mr. Sampson just said a mouthful when he said we don't have the time. Neither do we have the expertise nor the contacts.
Right.
Correct.
And I think that, that would be our best bet, because we need to meet about it and see who are some of the people we need to look at for us, the contract we need to get them to look for a new superintendent for the district.
Yeah, I think, we got 2 of those packets in an email from Dr. O'Brien this week.
Yeah. Okay, I'm either going to speed this process up or slow it down, but I make a motion we hire Thompson and Horton as our search firm.
I second that motion.
Yeah.
Is there any discussion on this?
Yeah, I don't think that that's the right way to go. We're not looking at all the people that we should look at.
Excuse me, let me.
We only got 2 packets.
Let me
out of
formalize it real
4.
quick. We have a motion and a second, a motion by Mr. Clem and a second by Mr. Martinez to hire Thompson and Horton as our consultant to hire a superintendent. Now let's proceed with discussion.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's the right way. I don't want to, I agree with, speeding up the process, but I don't want to go that fast where we, we don't look at everything that we need to look at. And I'm afraid that we're trying to speed it up too fast. That's what I'm thinking, especially with picking somebody right off the bat like that.
I felt like the packets were pretty thorough.
Very comprehensive.
They were. And so I like Thompson and Horton. The thing that made TASB to me stand out in front of Thompson and Horton, though, was that they do whole community sessions instead of just committee.
But did you look at all 4 packets, or you just looked at the 2?
I looked at the ones that were provided to us.
Right. Okay, so.
By the deadline that they were given.
Oh, well, Randy said
So-
he had some more. I don't know. Were those given to you, Randy, by the deadline, or the other ones you had?
I had tasked Dr. O'Brien with doing some of the work behind the scenes to solicit or accept packets from firms that would like to be considered. 2 of them actually came as emails to myself and Dr. O'Brien. The other 2, I believe, you reached out to. I would like to echo Mrs. Guy, Mr. Clem, you and I don't often agree on much, but this one I have to disagree with you on. I would lean more towards TASB for another reason, and that is the fact that I don't want to put bad omens out there. They stand behind their work, and if we were to hire a superintendent that did not work out and we had to go out for whatever reason, it could be no fault. If we're without a superintendent within the next 2 years, TASB's program provides that they will create or conduct a modified search at no additional cost to the college, to the school district, other than travel and a couple other expenses. I would also say that TASB was, I would say, considerably cheaper by several $1,000s and more inclusive in their packet. I looked at the recent placings of superintendents, and I just saw more alignment with TASB's, what I'm looking for individually as myself, that I'd be leaning towards TASB's process.
I believe Thompson and Horton has the same guarantee. And do any of you guys know who Mike Moses is?
Mm-hmm.
I do.
I mean, okay. If you know who he is, you would want him on your team. He's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wonder if they would do whole community.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
I wonder if they would do the whole community input instead of just the committee. And when I looked at the prices, it felt like, I think there was about a $3,000 difference or $2,500 difference, but it felt like some of the things, I think in the end it was kind of a wash, because I think TASB charged, like the district paid for some things for TASB that they didn't pay for with Thompson and Horton. So it kind of evened out a little bit. So
we're in the Thompson and Horton, it calls for 3 different focus groups. I'm assuming, and maybe I shouldn't, that was inviting the community in 3 different groups to let their opinions be known.
Maybe. I thought I read somewhere it was
also
like.
Also a window built in here for about, it looks like 2 weeks worth of community input via the district website.
Okay.
I'm good. I've read all of these. I have not read all of the 3rd one that was thrown on our desk tonight at the meeting, even though I wanted to read it during public comment. and that's just how I felt, so I threw it out there.
Yeah. I mean, I really, that was just the one little piece that
Yeah.
made me, because I felt like otherwise they were both pretty.
And I'm okay with either one, but we got both on one.
I would say that either one would do the job that this board hires them to do. They'll follow the will of this board either way.
I did have another question. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, because typically Thompson and Horton is the one that helps us with superintendent contract and all of that kind of stuff. So I guess is that part I think is included with Thompson and Horton, whereas I think if we went with TASB, we would still have to hire David to come in and help with contract and stuff.
Good thought.
Any further discussion on this item?
Well, I don't think we're going to be unanimous. That's not a good start.
Are we ready to vote?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we have a motion by Mr. Clem and a second by who? Mr. Martinez. It's been a long night. To retain Thompson and Horton to assist us in conducting an superintendent search. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor, please signify by show of hands. Any opposed? The motion passes 6-1. Mr. Renteria, we can only count one of those hands. All right, with no further business before this board, we are adjourned at 10:36 p.m.
All right. I expect to see everybody agreeing in 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.